What's up, San Diego, and a happy Monday to everybody out there in America's finest city. Braden Surprenant Show, off and rolling here on a Monday morning after a big series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Padres take 2 out of 3 from LA, which means they are now tied with LA atop of the standings in the National League West. That's good news. I mean, overall, taking 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers is good news. It's always going to be good news. Okay. So from that perspective and talking about the weekend, it was good news for the San Diego Padres. Yesterday, it could have been better news, but it wasn't. It could have been better news yesterday, but it wasn't. I got to fix. Sorry, we're trying to set up everything. They gave us new computers today or whatever over the weekend. And so now we have all these different things going on for the YouTube stream. But anyway, all right, back on track. Frank's trying to know where the voices are coming from. It's coming from somewhere, and I don't know where it's coming from. Anyway, so over the weekend, it was great for the Padres to take 2 out of 3. They got the job done against LA. It would have been better for a sweep, especially yesterday when it was 2-2 and you had an opportunity to put the Dodgers away, have a 1-game lead in the standings going into the final 31 games of the season, and potentially try to win a division title. So from that perspective, yesterday was kind of frustrating. And we're going to talk more about yesterday in a second. But some takeaways from the weekend. Your first 2 days were great in terms of starting pitching, right? Yu Darvish is great. He went 6 innings, allowed 1 earned run, had 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, 74 pitches, 48 strikes. Ryan O'Hearn was 2 for 3 on Friday night. Machado 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. You only needed 2 runs to beat the Dodgers, and you get the first game under your belt. That was good because at that point, you knew you weren't going to lose multiple games in the standings. Then you get to Saturday's game. And Saturday's game, Padres win 5-1. And how about Nestor Cortes? I mean, Nestor Cortez's first outing for the San Diego Padres was very good. His second outing was the home run derby. Third outing, back to being really good. And this is a guy that is still trying to get starts, right? Still trying to get some starts for 2025. He hasn't had too many of them so far. Coming back into his zone, coming off of an injury. Nestor Cortes went 6 innings with 1 hit, no runs, 3 strikeouts, no walks through 81 pitches. Xander Bogaerts 1 for 3 with that big double late in the game to drive in 2 runs. And the Padres went 5-1. They beat Tyler Glasnow. And so they go 2 out of 3 minimum. And then you get to yesterday. And yesterday, the Padres did a decent job of running some pitch count up on Yamamoto as much as they could. But again, I don't understand the decision to bring in Jeremiah Estrada. I know that Mike Schilt talked about it post-game yesterday, and I know what he was doing in terms of his overall answers for things. But at the same time, it was like, okay, yes, we know that Jeremiah Estrada has been good this year. We do know that. We do know he's been good this year. But he has not been good against the Los Angeles Dodgers. In fact, he hasn't been good against the LA Dodgers in his career. I mean, you look at the numbers that he has against the LA Dodgers, and they're not very good. And there's no way around it. There's no way around it. I just don't understand when you have access to arguably the best bullpen in Major League Baseball, and you have all of these options in that particular moment, why you did not decide to go with somebody else. I mean, you only used Mason Miller 1 time this weekend. Now, that being said, if Estrada makes it through the 7th, Mason Miller's pitching the 8th, okay? Or he's pitching maybe later in the 9th, depending on where Ohtani's up. I know you didn't want to go to Morejon yet because Morejon is supposed to face Ohtani. So there are a couple of things mixed in. Plus, if you bring in Morejon, and I do agree with Mike Schilt on this point, if you do bring in Morejon to face the backup catcher for the Dodgers, they're going to put Will Smith out there to swing. So then it'd be Morejon versus Will Smith. So I kind of get some of the thought process on that. But what I don't understand is, first of all, going to Estrada. I mean, David Morgan's there. You have other options in the bullpen. But they go with Estrada, who has struggled against the Dodgers. In fact, when they showed the bullpen graphic on TV, and they showed the 5 bullpen pieces and what they've done against the Dodgers, they've all done well except for one. And that was Estrada. I mean, he gets tagged by LA. And I don't know what it is, but he's going to have to figure it out because the Padres are going to have to get through LA one more time if they want to win a World Series. And in any type of series, as long as it's not a best of 3 for a wild card, which it won't be, then you're going to need Jeremiah Estrada. But I didn't understand that move yesterday. I didn't get it. I didn't get that move. And then when you decide to bring him in with his track record, I don't know why there wasn't anybody else warming up. And I don't know why after 3 batters, when he gave up the single and walked the guy, it was time to make a change. I don't understand the logic there. I don't think there is what happened yesterday can be justified a lot. I also, and we're gonna talk about this in a little bit later, but I also don't. I mean, I'm kind of tired of watching Luis Arraez bat second. We talked about that last week. I went and looked at his numbers. I mean, because he's swinging at all these pitches like completely out of the zone, and he eliminates opportunities for Fernando to steal second because he constantly is swinging at stuff. And even though he can make contact with a lot of pitches out of the zone, it just doesn't make any sense why he's swinging all these pitches out of the zone. And to me, it'd be different if Luis Arraez had a high slug and he was getting on base and was hitting over 300 and running away with the batting title to justify the player that he is and batting in the 2 spot where he's batting. Again, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm sick and tired of hearing it's like, well, he's won 3 batting titles. Well, he ain't going to win one this year. What does that mean? He's won 3 batting titles. Is he just going to turn it around? I mean, it's not working. I saw a couple of tweets over the weekend that I thought were interesting that I was sent by some friends. And one of them was from, and I got to go find it, and it was so spot on about the entire Luis Arraez situation. It was from Mike Petriello, who we've seen before on here. The Padres are 13th in weighted runs created plus, yet 24th in runs scored. That's crazy in a nutshell. So they're really good at generating opportunities to score runs. They just don't score a lot of runs. And then he goes on to say, I do not quite understand why Arraez keeps hitting second. He goes on to say those are meaningless numbers without context. Here's the context. San Diego number 2 hitters have the second fewest RBIs ahead of only Cleveland. Now, getting opportunities for RBIs, I've already talked about that. I think RBIs are kind of a arbitrary stat because you can't control who's on base in front of you and all that other stuff, but I digress. Padres number 2 hitters have the 3rd fewest runs scored ahead of only Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Who has hit second the entire year? Luis Arraez. You could say what you want, and I like Luis Arraez. I love that he's on the team. I like his energy. I love his passion. I love his energy in the box. I think he needs to be in the lineup every single day. But you cannot listen to those numbers and be like, this is great production. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And some of my friends were like, well, because the funny thing is our group text was divided in half. I'm sitting here watching this. It was like half on Arraez should not bat second and half on that guy should bat. I'd have 9 Luis Arraezes. And so the conversation was, stop throwing out the stats. Use your eyes. I'm using my eyes. I'm watching a lot of wasted opportunities for the Padres in the top of the order with the number 2 guy. And I don't get it. And if you look at what you could do at the bottom of the order with lefty, righty, lefty. I mean, you could literally go Luis Arraez 7, Freddie Fermin 8, and Jake Cronenworth, by the way, who finds ways to get on base via getting hit by a pitch, hitting a catcher's glove, or walking at 9. And now all of a sudden you have production all over the lineup. I don't understand. I don't get it. We've talked about it before. I've heard the answers from Mike Schilt. I just don't understand where they're coming from on some of this stuff. The Estrada stuff yesterday was crazy. I couldn't believe that happening. And when he got brought in, I'm like, this is not going to end well. And then it didn't end well. It didn't end well. But the Padres on the positive side, okay? As negative as yesterday was, on the positive side, and Frank put on the sheet, when we talked about it on Friday, we said if the Padres take 2 out of 3, you basically, again, start another season. It's 31 games. You're tied with the Dodgers. You got to outdo the Dodgers by 1 game. So, despite what yesterday was like in terms of being frustrating, the Padres are exactly where they need to be if they want to win the division. They're pushing. They're in a great spot. They're in the best position they have been in a long time to win the division. They got to outdo the Dodgers here in 31 days. The path is in front of them. They just need to go out and take it. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973 if you want to join the show today. We're just getting started. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're trying to get this new computer up and running, so hopefully we can fix that during the break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the decisions that happened yesterday on the Braden Surprenant Show. 10:18 on a Monday. Frank, how many times do we have to tell people that we like Luis Arraez?
Apparently a couple times more.
It's like every time. I love Luis Arraez. I love him on the team. But I don't get the number 2 spot. And I think you saw that again this weekend. Against the LA Dodgers. I mean, he's going to put together good stretches. He's not going to be hitless for a long time. But this weekend against LA, it wasn't very good. And again, you're trying to compete at a higher level. I just think his tools are better lower in the order for what he brings.
I agree.
His tools, which is hitting the ball and putting the ball in play and getting singles and doubles, is better lower in the order.
Yes, 100%. That's why we were saying last week, bat him 6th, 7th, 5th if you really want to. That's 6th or 7th is like the perfect batting place in the order for him for what he does.
100%. He went 1 for 3 on Friday. On Saturday, did he go 0 for on Saturday? Can't remember off the top of my head. On Saturday, Luis Arraez went 0 for 4. And then yesterday, I think he had an 0 for day again yesterday. But to me, I don't get him batting second when you have all these other players that have been contributing that you could put there. But I agree. He's awesome. I think he's a big cog to this team. He's a reason why they're going to be a playoff team. He's going to be a reason why when the Padres win the World Series, he will be a reason why. He will be the reason why. Him, as well as everybody else on this team. So we're not saying he shouldn't play, but we are saying there needs to be a little bit of a mix-up. Now, these are career numbers for Luis Arraez, and it's hard to show because of the year he's having this year. But when looking at OPS and on-base percentage, and even batting average in his career, in terms of batting order positions, his 3 highest OPS numbers are when he hits 3rd, when he hits 5th, and when he hits 6th. That is when he's getting the most slug. That is when he's getting on base more. And in fact, looking at batting averages, 2 of his top 3 batting averages are batting 5th, 3rd, and then 6th. When Luis Arraez hits 3rd in the lineup, which I'm not thinking the Padres should do because Manny Machado's the 3-hitter. But when he hits 3rd in the lineup, lower in the lineup, he's hitting 356 with a 403 on base, a 475 slug, and an 878 OPS, which is the highest OPS for any spot. When Luis Arraez bats 5th. Now, again, these are not as many numbers as the batting leadoff. He has hit leadoff the most, and then he has hit second, the second most. But when you look at all of his numbers, aside from batting 8th, his lowest numbers as a hitter is batting 2nd in his career. All of the Luis Arraez games that he has ever played in, when he bats 2nd, he's hitting 293, which is still insane. That's how great of a hitter Luis Arraez is. He's hitting over 300 in every other position in the batting order. Over 300 in every other spot. Hitting 293, batting 2nd. His OPS batting 2nd is one of the worst. It's like his 3rd worst at 734. But again, when he bats 3rd, when he bats 5th, when he bats 6th, he's hitting 356 with an 878 OPS. When he bats 3rd, when he bats 5th, he's hitting 376 with an 878 OPS. When he bats 6th, he's hitting 308 with an 809 OPS. I mean, the guy can hit lower in the order. But again, I don't know how many times we have to keep watching it on a weekend and just be like, all right, he's just our 2-hitter, and this is going to be the best that we got. Not that we have Ramon Laureano, not that we have Ryan O'Hearn, not that we have any of these other guys. And now you want to go righty, lefty, and all that stuff. There's ways around it. But it's shocking to me that they haven't made a move yet and moving him down. I don't understand. And it's not like it's a small sample size and you pull he's won 3 batting titles, it's going to be okay. Just move him down in the order. Just move him down in the order. I don't get it. Now, yesterday, I did not understand this move at all. I did not understand this move at all in bringing in Jeremiah Estrada. And some people on our station were defending the move. I don't get it. I didn't understand it when it happened in person, when it was live. I didn't understand it the other night. I mean, even the other night when Jeremiah Estrada pitched, he still gave up a bomb. I mean, I don't... He has not done well against LA. He is historically not done well against LA. I mean, in his career against LA, he has not been great. And this year against LA, he has not been great. I mean, look at his splits. His splits, just, I don't understand in that particular moment why you would bring in Estrada. So the answer would be like, well, who would you bring in? I don't know. David Morgan? Give him a chance. David Morgan's been great all year. And I love Jeremiah Estrada's a stud. But for some reason, he just does not. The Dodgers see him well. The Dodgers see Jeremiah Estrada very, very well. I mean, look at just this season against LA. He has faced the Dodgers 8 times, which is more than any other team in Major League Baseball that he has faced. He has faced the Dodgers 8 times. He's 0-2 in 6 1/3 innings. He has given up 13 earned runs. In 6 1/3 innings, Jeremiah Estrada against the Dodgers in 2025 has given up 13 earned runs on 15 hits. He's got an 18.47 ERA against Los Angeles. I don't understand. I didn't understand the move. It's a 2-2 ball game. You have the best bullpen in baseball. The only part of your 5-headed monster back there that has struggled against LA is Estrada, and he's the guy that comes in with a 2-2 ball game. Look, I know you got to get guys in. I know he's going to have to learn how to face them eventually. But if you have a guy like Estrada, I don't know why they didn't warm anybody else up as they were bringing in Estrada. And after the first knock and a walk, it was probably time to make a decision after the third batter, because this thing was going to unravel very quickly. And it seemed like most of the fan base watched that happen and knew it was going to happen. I mean, I almost immediately knew it was going to happen. So those are his numbers just this year against LA. And you look at the amount of home runs he has given up this season. 5 of the home runs he's given up has been against the Dodgers. He's given up 2 earned runs, or 2 home runs against the American League. He has given up, let me just go through this real line. 5, he's given up, This season, Jeremiah Estrada has given up 1, 2, 3, 8 home runs. 5 of them have been against Los Angeles. I mean, that's ridiculous. They see him super well. It didn't make any sense. Now, in his career against LA, it's not much better. He has struggled against the Dodgers in his career. And so the move didn't make a lot of sense to me. If you look at the opponent's numbers, Jeremiah Estrada going against the Dodgers has a 347 opponent's batting average. Opponents, the Dodgers have hit 347, 467, 653, and 1120 OPS against Jeremiah Estrada all time. In the 13 games that he's pitched against them, which is the most out of any team he has faced. He's faced the Giants 11 times. He's owned the Giants. But against the Dodgers, in 49 at-bats, the Dodgers are 17 for 49 with 14 runs scored, 5 home runs, 11 walks, 12 strikeouts, and 1120 OPS. He needs to find a way to get the best of LA because the Padres are going to need him in the postseason. But I didn't get the move. I didn't get the move yesterday. I really can't justify it. I mean, if you look at his overall numbers against the Dodgers, like his career game level numbers against LA, 0-3 with an 11.81 ERA. The only other team that has done better against him has been the Angels, and it's been in 2 innings. Padres actually hit Jeremiah Estrada pretty well, but he only played 1 game. 11.81 ERA in 13 games. That is not that is a big enough sample size. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll give you some big takeaways of the weekend. And again, as negative as that last segment was, there's a lot to be positive about when it comes to the Padres after taking 2 out of 3 from LA. They're in a really good spot. We'll lay it out for you when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10:34 on the Fan on a Monday. Padres take 2 out of 3 from LA. A lot of things to be positive about when it comes to the San Diego Padres. We're going to look at those numbers in a second. Crucial 42, like we talked about. Padres are 19-10. We talked about the final 42, but that's kind of irrelevant now because it just got reset. You're back to the starting point. So now it's the final 31 and the crucial 42, and the Padres continue to cruise on here in 2025. The division title is right there. The division title is still within reach. Despite losing yesterday, despite some of the problems yesterday, this team is in the best spot that they have ever been in a long time to win a division. And now you don't have to deal with the Dodgers anymore. And by the way, the hard part of the schedule is over after these 3 games against Seattle. And you're catching Seattle at right about the right time because the Seattle Mariners have not been very good as of late. I mean, they've been a little bit of a tailspin. They're the only thing keeping the New York Yankees alive right now. They're like the only thing keeping the Yankees alive in the postseason right now are the Mariners and their inability to win. They're 3-7 in the last 10. They've had some tough road trips to the East Coast. They sit 3 games above Kansas City and only a half game now behind the New York Yankees after the Yankees won last night over the Red Sox. So that's in the American League. Cal Raleigh destroying home runs. Big dumper passing Salvador Perez's catching home run record yesterday. Lot to see with the Seattle Mariners this week against the Padres. And again, last big tester. After that, you got the Twins, who are in second to last place in the American League. Then you got Baltimore for 3 games here at Petco Park. Baltimore also in last place. They're a half game better than the Oakland A's. Then you got Colorado on the road. You welcome Cincinnati, and who knows where Cincinnati's going to be. I mean, Cincinnati is starting to really take on water with the schedule that they have. And Cincinnati's got LA this week. I mean, you kind of want Cincinnati to start winning some games here. Frank doesn't, but if you're a Padres fan, you can use the Reds to beat up the Dodgers a little bit. Padres and the Dodgers have a comfortable enough lead against Cincinnati. But you could use the Reds to win a couple of games here in Los Angeles the next couple of days. But you got to play them in September. Then you got Colorado for 4. You go to New York to take on the Mets. Then you got the White Sox, Brewers, Diamondbacks. Padres have the easiest schedule left in Major League Baseball. That was talked about on the broadcast. Dodgers had the 5th easiest schedule. So when you look at the two and you compare the two, and we'll start adding it to the daily stuff because we're tracking it now, obviously. You got 31 games to try to outplay the Dodgers, and you don't get to play them anymore. So while the Padres are playing those opponents, the Dodgers have the Reds and the Diamondbacks. It'd be nice for the Diamondbacks to get them. Then they got Pittsburgh. I don't know how it lays out in terms of starting pitching yet, but hopefully Paul Skeens pitches in one of those games. Then they got Baltimore, Colorado, San Francisco, Philly, San Francisco, Arizona, Seattle to finish the season. Maybe Seattle can help you out the last 3 games of the year. Kind of similar schedules. Padres slightly easier, but that's the road ahead. And again, you put yourself in a good spot by taking 2 out of 3 against LA. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Brad in La Mesa, you kick things off with the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, Brad?
Hey, Braden, just wanted to comment about Estrada coming into the game yesterday. I mean, you did a deep dive, which is incredible. And I have full faith in Niebla and Schill. And I trust what they're doing. I don't understand why they went that way. I agree with you on that. But, you know, I'm constantly, with my 2 sons, I'm constantly trying to tell them there's a plan here. And these guys have been around a long time. They know what the heck they're doing. We have to trust them to some extent. This one, I think, slipped through the cracks. and they have to reevaluate it. I appreciate you giving the breakdown on that.
Well, I appreciate that, Brad. Thank you again for the phone call. Ruben Niebla and Mike Schilt do a great job with the team. But that doesn't mean they're going to be perfect on all the decisions. And sometimes when you are trying to finish the last couple innings, you try to sneak guys in, get guys out, try to see where you can get innings in different runs. Can't not believe in Jeremiah Estrada, right? But he pitched the night before, and it didn't look very good. It didn't make a lot of sense, and maybe they overthought it. But there was a mistake yesterday to bring in Jeremiah Estrada. It was a mistake. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Charles and Ramona, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Charles?
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Yeah, I totally agree with you on the Estrada thing. His history against the Dodgers is just atrocious, and bringing him in that critical situation was a big mistake, especially with not having someone else warming up beside him just in case things started going south. But I think, another big thing is we're just not scoring enough runs, and a big part of that is our lineup, the alignment of our lineup. Tatis is getting on, and Lewis is doing nothing about it. Yes, he's giving you good at-bats, but he can do that from the 7 spot or the 8 spot or the 5 spot or the 4 spot, wherever you want to put him. There are better players suited in this lineup right now to go to that 2 spot and drive in runs, because this team's been winning from the middle and the back of the order. That's where most of our run production, our RBIs, are coming from, not from our top 2. And how you can justify continually putting out this same lineup is astounding to me. Yes, we're winning games, but not because, in spite of Luis being in the 2 spot, not because he's in the 2 spot. I really think Mike needs to make this change, but I really don't think he's going to. And it's really bothersome to think that we're not going to be putting our best foot forward.
Well, Charles, let me pick up right there, and I appreciate the phone call. I think he is, because last year, what were we talking about? Last year, think about last year. Everybody wanted Jackson Merrill to move up in the order. I didn't mind him being lower. I think as a rookie, get his feet wet, be lower in the lineup. Okay, I don't mind that. But when push came to shove, remember, because just Jake Cronenworth was near the higher part of the order, and I've said multiple times, a playoff lineup has Jake Cronenworth batting 7th, 8th, or 9th. When they finally got to the playoffs, he was hitting around 7, 8, or 9. And Jake Cronenworth is currently batting 8 for the Padres. So I think by the time they start getting into super playoff mode, and I don't think they're there yet, once September rolls around, I think you're going to start seeing some playoff level lineups. I think they're going to actually make those changes. I really do. I mean, we've seen this enough now where it doesn't make sense for the skill set that Luis Arraez has to bat second. It doesn't make sense. His skill set screams batting in the middle to the second half of the order. Anywhere between 4 and 7, I think, is a good spot for Luis Arraez. And old traditional baseball people are like, oh, you need a cleanup hitter. You need a guy that's going to hit the ball with the foot. No, you don't. You need a guy that gets a hit with runners on base, or at least put the ball in play. That's when I want guys up that put the ball in play. Is then. So that's where I see everything at with the Luis Arraez situation. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Brandon and Carlsbad. Brandon, what's going on, man?
Hey, boys. Huh? What are we thinking now, huh? Where are we at now? Where's that cerebral brainwave at now? I want to ask you guys some questions, because we've addressed all the issues. We know what we got. We know what the last home stretch looks like. We know what place we're in, and we know what we can do. There's no more excuses in my book. Time to get fired up, man. Pull out the guillotines again. Because you know what? We've had these ups, and we've had these downs, and we've had these all around. And yet here we are at the top. We can win the division. We can do what we know we can do. Let's move them. Let's shake them. There's nothing more else to say than let's go, Padres. Frank, smile. All right, guys. God bless.
See you, Brandon. They're in a really good spot. You're in a really good spot. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It'd be nice to take 2 out of 3 from the Seattle Mariners and get them while they're down, because they're not playing good baseball right now, and it'd be nice to take advantage of that. These are the last 3 games on this insane stretch of August that you've had, and they've had a good stretch of August. I mean, they played really good baseball in a group that was going to be murderer's row at the beginning of the season. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Kevin in Chula Vista, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kevin?
Well, to follow Brandon again out of Carlsbad, what a distinct honor. Gotta love that passion. And Brandon, I know you're listening. Just keep it up, my friend. And it's appreciated down south here. Hey, look, you're right, Braden. All the intro and the facts you presented, spot on target. The boom check. I love to let's use Mike's favorite term. Boom check goes to the starting pitching. That was a nice, pleasant surprise. Boom check to the other part of the order, which was not the top 3, which was basically the top 3 was an abysmal failure. It was a 3 for 28 effort against one of the best teams in baseball, in which these 3 guys, and I said this to you, and I think we all agreed at the beginning of the series, that Manny and Tatis and Arraez need to go up. Manny had an RBI, 1. The rest of that, those 3 for 28, that's not going to cut it when it comes to playoff time. And you're absolutely right. It's the Padres need Drano. They need a good bottle of Drano for that lineup because it's dysfunctional at the top. If you want to see Tatis get untracked, you've got to have somebody that's coming up after him that opposing teams and pitchers have to account for. They're not going to have to worry about a slap hitting guy that sprays the ball occasionally around the field. You're absolutely right. Luis needs to drop down. I don't care where he drops to, 7, 8, or 9, but to leave him at the 2 is killing Fernando. And Fernando getting on with walks is not going to get you to where you want to go with the World Series. 3 for 28, that's got to be addressed. That's not good.
No, it's not, Kevin. Your top of your order's got to do a lot more damage, and we agree. I mean, the thing is Luis Arraez is a benefit to this team, but it's not in the number 2 spot with his skills. His assets, I think, are better off in the middle to the bottom of the order. I don't think a lot of teams are afraid of a Luis Arraez with just a runner on base. I don't think a lot of teams are afraid of Luis Arraez with nobody on base. I am a little bit more afraid of Luis Arraez when there's multiple guys on base and less than 2 outs. I mean, that is the time I would like to have Luis Arraez up. And you can try to finagle your roster or your lineup as much as you want. I mean, obviously, a lot of those situations have no impact on Luis. But to start out the game, I want to get somebody up there that's scary in the number 2 spot. And he's not really scary. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll stay in the South Bay. Clay, what's going on, man?
Hey, gentlemen, boy, the trolls are out. Everybody knows this and that and that and this. Oh, my goodness. Sky's not falling, Chicken Little, look up, something else hit you on the head. I mean, we're all good in the hood. Everything's good going down here in San Diego. Padres are winning. They dropped 1 to LA, and it sounds like, oh, my God, everything's done. Hey, we still got 31 games to go. All we got to do is win more than we lose. Stay 1 game ahead of the Dodgers in the standings, win the division, move on to the playoffs, and set up everything for going for that. As far as my Cleveland Browns, how about that, huh? They won 3 in the preseason. Flacco looked good. Gabriel looked really good. And hopefully, whenever the season starts, Judy and Njoku they'll do their thing, and my Browns will not lose, even though the talking heads think they will. They've got them losing like the first 6. So I guess we should just mail in the season in Cleveland and let everybody else play football. Anyway, that's all I got, Braden. Let's go, Padres.
Well, I appreciate it, Clay. I love getting the Browns updates, too. He's fired up about the Browns. He's got to be one of the only people fired up about Joe Flacco being a quarterback for their team. But you know what? Isn't Flacco elite, Frank? That was like a common phrase when I was in college. Hey, Joe Flacco elite. Joe Flacco's elite. We'll see how the Browns do for Clay's sense. I mean, and every time somebody always goes in the YouTube chat, wait a minute. He is a Browns fan and a Padres fan? Oh, man, the dark years that he has had as a sports fan. Kind of have to agree with that. Let's go up to the North County. Nate in San Marcos. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, you were right in talking about yesterday's bullpen management when, my heart sank when,
Estrada
the rotation should have been, Morihone should have came up. Anyways, not a big deal, but staying positive. I canceled my Fubo, but if Padres start doing good, I'm going to get it back online and I'll start watching the games. But anyways, everyone's wearing their Padre gear out there this morning. It's good to see everyone representing. So, but bullpen management, I think, is the keys to pulling off these victories.
Nate, appreciate the phone call. There hasn't been too many times where we've talked about improper bullpen usage this year. Frank, I can't remember. It's not like it's been a recurring thing like Bob Melvin's been in charge.
No.
They've had maybe like 2 or 3 head scratchers, and other than that, it's been pretty much okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you're not going to call it out when you see it. And it was a missed opportunity yesterday to potentially sweep the LA Dodgers. A missed opportunity yesterday to sweep the Dodgers, in my opinion. I thought they had it right. It was right there for the taking. Could have swept LA, and then you go 3-3 against the Dodgers in the 6th, right? It'd be the equivalent to losing 2 out of 3 there and winning 2 out of 3 here. And it would have set yourself up very nicely with a 1-game lead in the standings. Instead, you're tied, and now we got 31 games to go. Eric in Chula Vista. You're on the Braden Surprenant show. Eric, what's going on, man?
Hey, thanks again, man. I love listening. Wanted to touch on Arraez. So, we hear a lot of like where maybe he should be batting, towards the bottom. But we don't hear a lot about like who we're going to replace him with. I'm thinking maybe Jackson Merrill. But when you got a guy like Tatis who's always on base, I know some of us callers mentioned that you want a guy who can maybe hit the ball or put the ball in play. I don't know if anybody does that more than Arraez. He's not a threat, of course. But I'd like to hear more of the callers say who would you replace Arraez with? And then one last thing, as far as bullpen management goes, it only seems like it's an issue when it doesn't work. But I'm a firm believer, like, hey, if it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do, whether or not it works. We can't just base a decision off of the result of the ball game. Thanks again.
Well, absolutely, Eric. I thought it was not a great decision when it happened, though. I immediately went, uh-oh, I don't know, I don't like this. And there's a lot of times where I go, uh-oh, I don't like this, and then it works out swimmingly. In terms of replacements, I think in an ideal world, I'd put Jackson Merrill batting second. In an ideal world where he's not hurt and hasn't, missed majority of this season, I'd put Jackson Merrill batting 2. Now, with Jackson Merrill being hurt a lot and not having the greatest of seasons, he's done well. It's not like he hasn't done well. But, I don't mind like Ryan O'Hearn there. I really don't mind Ryan O'Hearn there. I also don't care about lefty, righty. I think if you have the ability to do that, it's nice, but I don't think it's an end-all, be-all. So Ramon Laureano being in the second spot, I think is worth something as well. But I think those 3 individuals would be massive upgrades to the 2 spot in the order for the San Diego Padres. Now, if you did like Laureano and then you had, O'Hearn back cleanup, you could do that as well. But now you're going 3 righties in a row, which means eventually down in the order, you're going to have multiple lefties in a row, set yourself up for a potential left-handed pitcher to face 3 lefties. But, to me, eventually, if you're going to play in the playoffs, those guys are going to have to face lefties. It's not like they're not going to face lefties. And with those pitchers coming in and facing 3 batters in a row anyway, they're going to bring in a left-hander when a left-hander leads off. So, to me, it doesn't, I'm not super in on that. But we'll see what the Padres decide to do. I feel like it's probably time to mix it up a little bit. But to answer your question, I mean, I'd like to see Merrill there. If you want to go lefty, O'Hearn there, I think in the 2 spot would be good. Laureano's not too bad either. 1 hour down, 3 to go. We'll get back to your phone calls when we come back. Plus, talk more about what happened this weekend and an update on Michael King. Baseball talk on the Fan presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. All right. Haven't got to hear too much from Frank today. He's been busy behind the scenes, inputting a bunch of stuff that he worked on over the weekend.
Yeah.
That's going to make our airwaves sound better than they already do. Overall takeaway, Padres Dodgers this weekend.
You did your job. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You took 2 out of 3. That was your bare minimum requirement. And now this 131 games that you've played already are completely meaningless because now it comes down to a 31 game sprint. And that is where you currently sit right now. Nestor Cortez, that was the kind of performance from Nestor Cortez that wins you a playoff roster spot. That was the perfect outing for him. Near perfect. What was it? One hit, no runs, 3 strikeouts, 81 pitches.
The hit was late in the game, too. The hit was late in the game.
But no walks. That's perfect. And honestly, for both Darvish and Cortez, 74 pitches for Darvish, 81 pitches for Cortez. Like to see them go longer as far as pitch count goes, but you cannot be mad about the 6 innings. That was what we've been screaming for all season long, was for these starters to go deeper into games. So this way you don't have to rely on the 4 horsemen plus 1 at the end of every single game. You can give 1, maybe 2 of those guys a rest with your starters going deeper. And that's exactly what you got out of this week. It was the best possible outcome that you could have gotten from this weekend.
I think so too. We call that all the faults of yesterday's game. And that was just getting greedy. It would have been nice to sweep. It's very difficult to do. It would have been nice to get them back after you lost all 3 games in LA the weekend prior. It would have been nice right now to have a 1-game lead in the standings. But at the same time, you'll take the 2 out of 3. I mean, they did what they needed to do. They got the job done. And now you got 31 games to try to outplay the Dodgers by 1 game. It's now a 31-game season. Your percentage chances of making the playoffs continue to go up. Your magic number now for a playoff spot is 25. Take that for what it's worth. Okay, which means the Padres need relatively 25 more wins, and they're in the playoffs. But every time that the Padres win and the Reds lose, that number also changes. So if the Reds lose, you're going to gain a game there, and every Padres win, you're going to gain a game. And right now it's at 25 games. In terms of percentage chance of the postseason, now the loss yesterday didn't help the Padres out because they don't win the tiebreaker over LA anyway. So you look at it, and the Padres' best percentage chance for a seed is the 5 seed with 33%, but they still have a good chance at the 2 and the 3 in terms of their overall percentages. Only a 3% chance of getting the 6 seed, 8% chance of the 4, 26% chance at the 2nd seed, which is actually better than the Dodgers, and a 24% chance at the 3 seed, which is also technically, as of right now, better than the Dodgers. So that's where kind of things lay out in terms of the overall numbers to watch for. The Padres have a 31% chance of getting a bye in the first round of the playoffs. Their most likely opponent right now in the first round is still looking like it might be the Cubs. 34% chance, 11% chance that it is hell on earth for Frank, with the Padres Mets potentially in the first round of a playoff game. 8% chance against the Reds and a 7% chance against the Brew Crew. Again, take all that information for what it's worth. And the what-if situations that we've talked about before, Padres have 31 games left. If they win 15 of 31, which is 48% of the games left, basically splitting, they have a 99.9% chance of making the postseason. If they just go 500 the rest of the way, or less than 500. If the Padres go less than 500, 1 game under 500, in their next 31 games, they go 15 and 16. They'll have 89 wins and they'll be in the postseason. At this point in time, 16 and 15 is going to get you to 90 wins. So you're getting close to that mark that our guy Prolific said Early on in the season, when we were doing season predictions, he said 96 victories for the Padres. Thought that was a little crazy. But right now, it's well within reach. If the Padres go 21-10 in their next 31 games, they will get to the 96 win mark. For anybody that wants to see this Padres team potentially break the 1998 team's record of 98 wins, which is always the case anytime you get close to it, the Padres this season will have to go 25-6 to do that. I don't think that's going to be the case. They go to win 25 of the next 31 to win 99 games. The max that they can win this season right now is 105 games if they win all 31, which would be crazy. But anyway, that's where everything stands. Now, overall, as I mentioned this weekend, good weekend for the Padres. Taking 2 out of 3. But now it's become a 31-game season. And we'll talk more about that as we compare the Padres' final 31 and the Dodgers' final 31 in the next segment. But we do have an update on Michael King. And Will Wagner joined the team. And now we got the Vedder Cup coming up. But as of the latest update, Michael King, all smiles on as he walked off the mound on whatever day it was over the weekend. Sorry, I got my... well, there goes the update that I had. This new computer is just driving me nuts because it's logged out of everything that I've had. And so I don't have any logins for anything now. And so most of our stuff is just constantly click on this, logged out. Clicked on it. Do you need to log in? I don't have time to log in.
I can say he was... Michael King was all smiles as he walked, thrown 44 pitches over 3 simulated in. Bench coach Brian Esposito, coaching assistant Scott Stroud, and coach, it's Nick, so I can't figure that out. And special assistant Craig Allen definitely recorded and out on every play in the field. They said, quote, didn't see any hits. And there is a tweet here from Jeff Sanders, which I'm sure is very enlightening. However, I cannot see it.
Fun stuff. That's great. All right. Well, I got to get the login on this to pull the article back up, and I don't have the information in front of me. So it's just classic technology stuff today. I mean, and the thing is like none of this stuff could have been done ahead of time because I have to physically do it on this computer.
Yeah.
And the only time I'm in here on this computer is after the morning show. After the morning show. Which means I have a very finite amount of time to like try to get this up and running.
And you forget how much stuff you have to log into until you have to log into it. You're like, oh, that's right.
Yeah, like StreamYard. I was amazed how fast I got into StreamYard today. I was amazed. I had to I went on to try to pull up one of the tweets that we had on Twitter. I had to log into that, which I forgot. So I had to look up the thing. It's just all of these little logins are just driving me nuts. And then sometimes a lot of them, I have become so reliant on autofilling stuff.
Yes.
That when it doesn't pop up immediately, I get frustrated and I go, why? Now I got to go look up whatever this login is. I got to try to figure out what the username and password is and all this other nonsense. Just nonsense. Okay, well, that's frustrating. Back to the Padres. Okay, again, if people want to call in, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I think the Padres have a really good chance right now of still winning the division. And even though this is kind of crazy because they went 2-4 against them in the last 6 games, the Padres still look like they're a better team than LA. I mean, from top to bottom. It's just unfortunate they didn't execute one of those games in Los Angeles. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that the Padres haven't been able to tag that bullpen of LA. Are you surprised by that?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, they got to him a little bit this weekend, but I'm surprised that it hasn't been more. It hasn't been done more.
I know. I was kind of shocked because their bullpen gives it up all the time to other teams. I mean, all the time to other teams. And it's not one of the better bullpens, and they're banged up and they're hurt, and the Padres haven't been able to really tag their bullpen all that well. But I was pleased with the starting pitching this weekend. I mean, how could you not?
That was fantastic.
Nestor Cortez giving you the outing that he gave you was great. And you mentioned it, and I totally agree. You know, Nestor Cortez doing that against the Dodgers instead of just against the Giants twice, in which one of those was not great. He's battling for a spot right now in the postseason. Him and JP Sears. And you know what? He kind of matched the energy of JP Sears and what JP did last week against the Giants.
And now Sears has an opportunity to respond tonight against Seattle.
Yeah, a team that he has seen a decent amount coming from that division. So you get the bottom end of that rotation doing what they're doing with JP Sears and Nestor Cortez, lengthens it out a little bit more. Save your bullpen. I mean, you need JP Sears to go. It'd be nice to get him 6 innings tonight to just keep that bullpen fresh, because you're trying to keep that bullpen fresh for October more than you're trying to keep it fresh for, obviously, the next couple of weeks.
And you're not only trying to figure out who's going to make the postseason roster, you're also trying to fight now for a spot right at this moment for when Michael King comes back.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a double fight. Of course, the playoff roster is the big picture, but right now in the immediate, those two are fighting just to stay in the rotation to be able to fight for that playoff spot.
We didn't even talk about Ramon Laureano's thing yesterday. That was great. I mean, the Padres, Nick Pivetta did not have it early.
No.
Very wild. Ended up walking the bases loaded and got out of it just 1 run because of a great play by Ramon Laureano. I mean, what a pickup he's been.
Yeah.
It's been a great pickup. We'll talk more about that. We'll try to figure out our logins as we go to break. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. This hour on 97 Through the Fan is brought to you by Nativa Interiors. This Labor Day weekend, 2 iconic design companies are joining forces for a warehouse sale. Join Nativa Interiors and hold it contemporary home in Miramar for huge discounts on living, dining, bedroom, and outdoor furnishings. Call or text for more details at 619-215-6893. Labor Day weekend. We're off next Monday, which is great. Did you know that, Frank?
No.
You
I
forgot
did not
about
know
that.
It's hard to forget something you didn't know.
It's Labor Day. We always have Labor Day off.
Well, that's cool.
So
we
there
have a
go.
short show on Wednesday too, because the afternoon game up in Seattle.
Oh, wow. Short show Wednesday. Padres are off Thursday, are they? Right?
Yes, they're off Thursday. They're travel day.
Yes. I am flying to San Jose on Thursday after the show, doing my show from San Jose on Friday for Don's football. On Friday. Had a good win yesterday, or Friday. It was good.
Boys.
We'll talk more about the high school football world later on the show. Got my top 25 vote in, or top 10, sorry. Top 10 vote. Over the weekend, Dons look good. Proud of the Dons. There's a special teams guy scoring twice on special teams is great.
Great for everything but your wallet, from what I heard.
Yeah, so as the special teams coordinator, we have a thing. And my dad did it as the special teams guy before I took over. And it was, if they block a kick and take it to the house, then, our team, whatever, then they get pizza. And so they did it twice. So now I owe double pizza. Now,
Oops.
Here's the thing with the buying the pizza. Okay. And the thing is, it's not, I'm not feeding them a meal, Frank.
Yeah.
It is you get a slice or two. So I get the New York Giant pizza, the one that's bigger. And honestly, it doesn't even fit in my car. Doesn't fit in my car.
There's one down in IB. It's called Giant Pizza King. That's like that. My dad couldn't fit it in the back of his truck.
I can't fit in my car. It doesn't fit in my car. And I have to get 4 of them. Now, I probably have to get 3. So I did the same thing on JV. And JV did when I was coaching JV, they would do this. They did the same thing. And so I would just wait for both of them. They both had it. And so I would just bring it one day. But it's weird. It's do I want to do it at the beginning of practice and they eat pizza and then they're just sluggish all day? Yeah. I mean, kids are resilient. They'd probably be able to handle it. Or you pick it up or get it delivered to Cathedral at the end of practice. They get a slice on the way out. That's kind of where I'm at. But we usually go to the New York Giant Pizza. It's easy. It's massive quantities of pizza. But the problem is I need 3 of those things. It's $500. It's ridiculous. The amount of pizza you have to buy for a bunch of teenage boys. And I have to do it twice. So we got to figure out a day. And this week we're traveling. So they're not getting pizza this week. I got the itinerary for the weekend or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I'm only going to be there for a couple, not the whole time, obviously, because we got our show. It's a lot of eating. It's a lot of all right, in and out, Jersey Mike's, catered, just try to feed a football team. But again, I need the giant pizza. I would need 20 of those Costco pizzas, dude. I need the giant pizza. That's what it needs to be. And it cost me, I was that's going to cost me money.
I'm catching up on some of the other scores from the weekend. You had mentioned Olympian playing Cathedral Catholic. Olympian winning 36-7 against Claremont.
Against Claremont on varsity.
The Olympian freshman team, you said, played on Thursday against Cathedral Catholic?
Yes, it was an 8-2 final.
Yeah, that's an interesting football score.
It was the Olympian JV team against the Cathedral freshman team.
Yeah.
And Cathedral freshman won 8-2. I mean, they're big though. They look like a JV team, so it's not too crazy there. Yeah, some of the scores of the weekend. We'll talk more about that later on. With some pretty good teams out there in San Diego. Lincoln went to Hawaii and beat Punahou soundly. La Costa Canyon got off to a good start. Mission Hills with their quarterback, Troy Hune, who's going to Penn State. Had a good start to their season. Carlsbad beat up on Lakewood 43-0. And it was good. And then the other thing, too, is like on Friday night, after the game, Mario, who people that have been listening to me long enough know about the Mario Fierro situation, everything like that. I've talked about it. I've followed the case. I mean, when my coach was guy I coached with, I played for, a big impact on my life was taken away from us in 2021. And he was the one that would always he's like, we're going to Pitchers after the game. Let's go get a drink after our football games. And after he passed away, we hadn't done it. And I told one of our other coaches, I'm like, we're going to start doing this again. So we went to Pitchers and we have our little, I didn't reserve any tables, but Mount Carmel's staff was there and Torrey Pine's staff was there. And it was cool. 3 different staffs watching the PPR, watching all the highlights. They kept the kitchen open late, which is great because I'm always looking for a spot where I can get something to eat, get a drink, and watch the PPR, and you're not rushing me out the door because you're closing soon. And Pitchers hit the nail on the head on Friday night. So maybe I'll be going back there again for that. But that was the high school football world. We'll talk more about that. Eric Weddle got a dub with the RB Broncos on Friday as well. Some of the scores that I just remembering off the top of my head. Yeah, Mount Carmel beat Westview in the battle for Penasquitos. That's why they were there at Pitchers. So that was some of the high school football stuff, which was fun. And it was good to be back out there and coaching high school football. A little bit different role for me this year. I'm in the booth now.
Oh, not on the sidelines anymore.
Not on the sidelines. I feel like, let me ask you this, Frank. I feel like it'd be beneficial for somebody that gets paid to be the eyes and ears of the listener to probably be the eyes up in a booth, right?
Yeah, but I figured communication might be a little bit easier down on the field. I wouldn't want to be, if I were coaching something, I would want to be like in the middle of it to where I can see all the little things. I wouldn't want to be up and away from it.
Well, we need people in the booth. That's why I'm like, I
understand that that's needed.
As a special teams coordinator, you can see, first of all, I can see when their punter runs on the field, which is always a circus. I mean, the punt return exchange is just always just crazy for high school kids. Anytime there's massive personnel changes, it's crazy. But I can look for that, and then I help the defense out by looking from the top view. To me is great, and I miss a lot of things down on the field because you can't see the vantage points all the time. But the difference is like trying to tell kids what's going on. I had to give them I'd have like one of our other coaches hand them a headset like you would do. But I like being up there. Now, not all vantage points are great at some of these high school games. And we'll see what St. Francis is like up in San Jose. But that'll be on later in the week. Man, I didn't even get to watch any college football on Saturday. I didn't get to watch any college football. I had film, and then I got my hair cut, and then I had doing some other stuff, and then I got back for the Padre game, and by that time the Farmageddon was already over. I was trying to track Farmageddon on my phone during film, but only got a little bit of a taste of college football over the weekend.
It wasn't I got to watch the Iowa State K-State game. It was a sloppy mess.
It looks like a sloppy mess. We have to play there next year. TCU's got to play there next year.
As they said during halftime, is like, okay, these are college kids that just got here a couple days ago. They're probably still a little jet lagged.
Playing in Ireland.
It was raining. The field,
you could even see the lines.
Field conditions were not good. I mean, so there were reasons why it was a sloppy game, but it just was not. It was a week 0 game. We'll put it that way. It was a week 0 game.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, UNLV almost got.
I was surprised by that because Idaho State's not very good at all.
I wasn't.
Well, you had the spread thing, but then Kansas hammered Fresno State. By the way, shout out to Devin Dye with a pick.
There you go.
The son of Tremaine Dye, who I got to coach over at Cathedral. Devin and his brother Jalen both playing for Kansas, so I got to see them play a little bit, saw some highlights, but anyway. How about the Hawaii situation?
How about that, huh?
That's hilarious. Guy learned how to kick on YouTube. Makes the game-winning field goal. Stanford is bad. Stanford is bad.
Go Rainbow Warriors.
And the general, what is that account? Captain, what's his name?
I mean, we call the Captain Andrew Luck or
Captain
General
Luck,
Andrew Luck.
General Luck. His tweets on Saturday were hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Jet lag, bunch of beer emojis on August in the chat. We're going to talk more Padres baseball. We got to take a break. We're going to talk more Padres baseball when we come back. Football will be more in the 12 o'clock hour. Some games that matter, upcoming schedules for the Padres and the Dodgers, as well as it's a 31-game season now. It's time to lock in and see if the Padres can go track down a Western Division title. We'll talk all about that when we come back. 11:34. Braden Surprenant Show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're here each and every day from 10 to 2. Except for next Monday. We got Labor Day next Monday. I will be smoking a brisket. Are you coming over Monday, by the way? You can.
Yeah, I definitely could.
You got to bring something, though.
My smiling face isn't enough?
No, I have to.
Oh,
Not enough.
I'm sure I'll figure something out.
All right. Well, next Monday we have Padres baseball against the Orioles. And then, what's really important, of course, TCU football against North Carolina. Now, that might be an experience for you. Watching me watch TCU football.
Oh, you haven't seen me completely unleashed watching my teams. So don't worry about it.
Okay. Jocelyn says you should bring over cold cuts.
There it is.
Bring the cold cuts. Get some cold cuts. You do the icky shuffle with the cold cuts. It should be a fun time. So that's what Frank and I will be doing next Monday. I have some people over for TCU football. Brisket. It's back to it's time to do a brisket again. So I'll post some of that. Somebody DM'd me a long time ago about the ribs recipe I had, and I forgot to send him the stuff.
Oops.
I mean like months ago. But I will be making some of those as well. Just cannot include any nuts on anything, or Frank will
Exactly.
explode or something.
Well, maybe not. I would like to know first, but I'm getting an allergy test done. I think the 7th of September. I think.
All right. That doesn't really help us too much, though.
No, not for next Monday, but we'll know eventually, soon.
Diving back into Padres baseball, as we mentioned before, the weekend was good. Sunday was not good. Padres and Dodgers wrapped up their season series Sunday. LA reclaiming first place in the National League West thanks to the head-to-head tiebreaker. Dodgers took the finale 8-2, winning the season set 9-4. But the Padres won the weekend series and remain tied atop of the division with 31 games to go. It's the latest into the season the Padres have shared first place since 2010. We all know how 2010 ended. They were close, but not there. And they lost 10 games in a row that really put them out of contention. They trailed the Dodgers by 9 games on July 4th, but have stormed back with strong pitching, clutch defense, and a softer remaining schedule, the easiest in the majors. A division crown would mean San Diego's first since 2006 and potential first-round bye, though they must also pass Philadelphia. They're close. Sunday's turning point came when Jeremiah Estrada gave up a 3-run homer to Dalton Rushing after manager Mike Schilt passed on the lefty-lefty matchup. The stage is now set for a 5-week sprint with the Padres and Dodgers possibly meeting again in October. Division or bust, Frank? Is it division or bust for the Padres with what the roster they have, what you've seen out of them in the next 31 games? I think this is the closest thing that they had to have to potentially get into a division.
You're in it.
You have to be
that's it.
Thinking division.
Exactly. You're in it. You can't settle for anything less now. If you were 5 or 6 games out, then yeah, division, it's still possible, but it's a far hope away. But you're tied. All you have to do is win one more game than the Dodgers the rest of the way. That's all you have to do.
It's going to be a fun race.
That is a very, very achievable goal, is to win a single game more than the Dodgers. That's it. All you have to do.
Would you consider the regular season a failure if they don't win the division?
No.
I would not either.
No. You're playing with house money right now. This was a team that was going into the season, was expected to back into the wild card. And you're fighting for the division. You're playing with house money right now.
It's been almost 20 years since the Padres won their last division title. Would that mean something more to Padres fans than just simply making a deep playoff run? I don't think so. I think it means a lot to Padres fans, though, to win the division. Because we talked about that when one of the Padres board ops was in here.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought up exactly what I've brought up multiple times, is to see the Western Metal Supply Company building say Western Division champs again for the first time since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Like 20 years. Like 20 years since they won a division title. But I would rather win the wild card and make a deep run in the playoffs, than win the division and lose in the first round.
Which is a fair trade-off. It absolutely is a fair trade-off. And you're most likely going to get that first round bye if you outpace the Dodgers, because the Phillies and Mets are playing right now, so they're going to get some wins taken away from them. I think they play each other again a little bit later on. No one's catching Milwaukee right now.
No.
So your main focuses this year, your main focuses for the rest of the year, and I'm sure the lazier and lazier I get, the more and more the games to watch is going to reflect this. The only two teams you're watching the rest of the way are the Phillies and Dodgers. That's it.
I agree.
Those are your only two games.
Maybe the Cubs, but you're right there behind them. So, but that, to me, that'd be conceding the division. Watching the Cubs, paying attention to what the Cubs do, would be like conceding the division. Now, here's the question for you, right? I mean, it kind of goes with the division thing. Would you rather be the Arizona Diamondbacks, who went to the World Series and lost as a wild card team, or the San Francisco Giants, who won the division and then lost in the postseason before the World Series? You're losing either way. You're not winning the World Series.
I'd take the division in that case. So that way, at least I have something to show.
You have an NLCS pennant, though. Wouldn't a National League pennant be better than an NL West pennant? I mean, making the World Series would be a little bit different of a level. Like, to me, getting to the World Series would mean a lot more to this town than the Padres winning the division.
But I also think that getting that close is going to make it hurt that much more.
Mm-mm. As long as they don't get blown out. I mean, like, TCU making the national championship a couple years ago, it was just like, I can't believe they're here, right? Well, so it's for an organization that's only been to two of those things. Winning a division is fine. It's great. I think it's great. But I think, wouldn't you rather make it to the World Series than win a division? It's basically an NL pennant versus an NL West pennant. I mean, which one do you want? I'd rather have the NL pennant. You're losing either way. Again, it's a hypothetical. You're losing. You're not winning the World Series.
You want my honest answer? If it's not
I want you to lie to us.
If it's not the Dodgers, I'll take the division, because that means that's at least something. We beat them. We beat them here. They didn't go all the way after it.
So as long as the Dodgers don't win the World Series.
Yeah, as long as it's not the Dodgers,
you would take
I'll take the division, because we got you.
I think that's more disappointing, right? Like, the Giants won over 100 games. They won the division, and then they lost in the first round of the playoffs. To me, that's more disappointing than making the wild card, getting through 3 rounds, making the Fall Classic, and then coming up short in a World Series, which, again, like, the World Series itself is just like the playoffs. It's a crapshoot.
You also have to look at it this way. You were a couple games away from the World Series just 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 20 years since you've won a division.
But what's more important, win the National League or winning the National League West?
Well, no, I understand that winning the National League gets you to the dance, but you've been there recently. You know what that feels like. It's been a long time since you've been able to say, yes, we have been the best. We are the best team in the National League West.
We obviously all want both, but if I had to pick right now between winning a National League pennant and winning the division this year, I'm taking the pennant. I mean, what's the division really get you? Cool. It's cool. Won the division. Outdid the Dodgers in a full season. But the pennant gets me to the dance. It's almost like the same thing of regular season champion for a mid-major program versus the tournament champion. Tournament champion gets you to the dance. Regular season knows, hey, in a full season, we were the better team in the full season. But does anybody care about the regular season champ?
Go Aztecs. The debate is pointless since we're winning the series.
That's true. The debate is pointless because they're going to win the division and the World Series and the National League pennant. So, you don't have to worry about it then.
Job done. We'll just erase the last 4 minutes of conversation.
It's called Sports Talk Radio. It's fun to debate. Before we get to the sports thread, we got a guy, Ron in La Mesa. What happened at K-State, Ron? What's going on, man?
Hey, guys. Well, first and foremost, Braden, let's just say Frank, you're thinking like a Mets fan. They're just happy to be considered to be in the playoffs or anything.
Mets
So
have won 2, buddy. They've won 2, buddy. 2 rings.
Got to go to the dance. Much rather go to the dance than just win the title.
I agree. What else you got for me?
All right. Well, I'm crying in my cabbage here right now, but it's kind of hard. I could come up with 1,000 excuses, Braden. We got beat, but if we got to get beat, I'd rather get beat the first game of the year and come back and take 2 out of 3 of the Dodgers. I do have my priorities here, buddy. But man, to lose Dylan Edwards on a muff punt for the whole game, and I still haven't seen what his injury is, so I'm holding my breath a little bit there. But it was a good game in sloppy conditions, and it was definitely the first game. So I'd hereby put in a request to do away with all overseas football games in the 0 week, because I don't think it helps anybody.
I agree with you, Ron. Unfortunately, my Horned Frogs have to do that next year against North Carolina. We're giving up a home game to do that next year.
Yeah, we had to give up a home game this year. It totally sucks, man. So hopefully you guys won't go to, is it Ireland?
Going to Ireland. We're playing in the exact same game against Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels next year.
Oh, you're screwed, man.
It's not going to be good. Hopefully TCU could take care of business on Monday against them, and then it's just a wash. But yeah, as a season ticket holder, Ron, I don't like giving up home games, man.
No, it's ridiculous. And I'll leave you on this little tidbit here, Braden. No matter what happens in football or anything else, I would take a World Series victory or defeat over any of the other ones, Frank. So, yeah, erase that last 4 minutes. And if you're at it, throw mine in, too, just for grins.
I love it, Ron. Appreciate the phone call, man.
And Ron, to help you out, this coming a half hour ago from the Topeka Capital Journal, X-rays on Edwards' left ankle negative, unsure whether or not he'll play against North Dakota on Saturday. So there you go. There's your update on Dylan Edwards.
They got North Dakota now?
Yes.
I was like, I love Ron on the Mesa, but I was hoping as obviously somebody that was biased here, since it's Big 12 football, I was hoping Iowa State would win because I think we got a better chance of knocking off Iowa State than we do against K-State, but we'll see. North Dakota's good. Saw him play last year. New coaching staff. Aztecs, former DC and company are up there now coaching. K-State's got North Dakota, and then they got Army the following week before they start getting into more Big 12 play against Arizona, UCF, and Baylor. What else is going on in the sports world? Let's get to Frank Marchese with today's sports thread. All right, Frank.
All righty.
Number 1.
Let's get right. I thought you were going to do your normal bigger thing, but all right, here we go. It may not have been perfect, but for Taiwan, still pretty great. Taiwan winning its first Little League World Series since 1996 over the weekend. Although its 18 titles are the most of any country outside of the U.S., including 5 straight from 1977 to 1981. Taiwan beat Nevada 7-0 in the Little League World Series championship yesterday, ending a 29-year title drought for the country. Little League World Series is over. How are we feeling about the tournament this year?
Sound like there's a lot of drama in it. Sound like it was fun. Yeah. I didn't really watch too much of the Little League World Series. I'm more locked in on the Little League World Series when the West is represented by San Diego or Southern California.
I could not have cared less about the Little League World Series this year, but good on Taiwan for winning the whole
Congrats
thing.
to Taiwan. Moving on.
Number 2.
Philadelphia Phillies ace Zach Wheeler will miss the remainder of the season, expected to be out 6 to 8 months after being diagnosed with venous thoracic outlet syndrome. The team announced on Saturday. 35-year-old right-hander had surgery last week to remove a blood clot in his throwing shoulder. Venous thoracic outlet, a rare subtype of the compression disorder that pinches the vein and causes blood clots to form. This is repaired only through surgery, which has been recommended for Wheeler, that will allow him to return for opening day of next year. So we said last week he had the blood clot issue. Now we finally got the timetable, 6 to 8 months for Zach Wheeler. That's going to be a big miss for the Phillies going into the postseason.
That's a devastating miss for the Phillies. That is awful. And hopefully Zach Wheeler can make a safe and speedy recovery. I mean, that's a scary situation, obviously, for him. But that is a massive blow to the Philadelphia Phillies in their postseason. I mean, the big thing about the Phillies this year is their starting pitching has been one of the best in the big leagues. They've been relying on starting pitching. They got Aaron Nola back, and he got shelled when he came back. You know, they still have some good pitching, but you lose a starting pitcher like Zach Wheeler at this point in the season, that's hard to come back from. It's not like they can go find somebody anywhere close to his caliber. It's post-trade deadline. That's a tough loss for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yep, absolutely.
Number 3.
Of course, glad that he is safe and okay, though.
Yes.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers informed rookie safety Shiloh Sanders yesterday that he is being waived. Agents Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey told Schefter that they hope Sanders gets claimed on waivers. The NFL teams are currently in the process of trimming their roster to 53 players by Tuesday's deadline. This news comes after Sanders was ejected from Tampa Bay's third preseason game against the Buffalo Bills for throwing a punch. Sanders punched tight end Zach Davidson, who was blocking him after some heavy pushing and shoving in the second quarter. Bucs linebacker John Bullock tried to calm Sanders down afterwards, and Tampa Bay coach Todd Bowles looked at Sanders as he walked back to the sidelines. Really? This is where we're at right now. We are punching people in a preseason game when you do not have a roster spot locked in.
Stupidity. It's just being stupid. It's not, I mean, you have your career on the line here.
Sanders
I
family.
just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, control the temper. This is a job interview, right? This is all a tryout. This is all a job interview. This is job hunting in the NFL. The NFL stands for not for long. He obviously doesn't have the same skill set as his dad does. There's only so much teams will tolerate. And he obviously wasn't worth the baggage, so he gets released. And now his agent and their family thinks he's going to get picked up by somebody. I don't know how many people, or teams, I should say, want to pick up the headache that is dealing with the Sanders kids. I mean, just look at the Browns. I mean, some of the narratives right now are the offensive line, the offensive line that was blocking for Sanders let guys through on purpose. Like, what are we talking about? This is why teams didn't want to draft these guys. It's too much of a headache. They have to be worth the headache.
Did you see the Hard Rocks bet the top landing spots for?
I saw New Orleans, I think, was like on there.
New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Broncos could get rehired by Tampa Bay, and number 5, Publix.
Oh man,
so good for them.
That's a brutal.
Good for them.
That's a low blow.
Number 4.
From one spoiled brat to another.
Oh, wow. He's going after it.
He had to wait longer than he wanted, but Pittsburgh Pirates top prospect Bubba Chandler is finally a big leaguer.
Yay.
Chandler made his MLB debut on Friday night against the Colorado Rockies, which was a 9-0 win for Pittsburgh. Coming out of the bullpen, throwing 4 scoreless innings. He became the first pitcher in more than 2 years to earn a save in his big league debut. Chandler, after the game, said, quote, "I was mad, yeah, but you can complain all you want and everything. In the end, I'm here in the big leagues. There's not a lot of 22-year-old kids that get to do this," Chandler said after Friday's game when asked if he thought he'd be called up sooner. So it's not enough to just make it to the big leagues now. You have to make it in your time and not the team's time.
The guy's 22 and he's mad and get pulled up soon enough. I mean, but that's how it is, though. Like, I see it at the high school well. Sometimes it's more about the clout and social media than it's about playing the game.
Bunch of dopes.
I mean, I see that all the time. I mean, almost every high school team's got like 5 to 6 professional photographers and video people that just follow one kid. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like all about the clout instead. I was mad. Where's the humility? Like, I don't know, making it to the big leagues?
It's
being
like-
excited to be in the big leagues? Nah, they didn't do it fast enough. That's
Dopes.
insane, dude. Dopes is right. Halfway through, we're getting to lunchtime hour. And we'll talk a little bit about the high school football weekend. More Padres talk. A little college football as well.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Happy Monday to everybody out there at America's finest city. Halfway through the show today, alongside Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. We'll take you up to 2 o'clock today. And Gwen and Chris, as the Padres get ready for the Seattle Mariners, start of a 3-game series in the Emerald City. Padres got swept by Seattle here earlier in the year. So Vedder Cup right now is not looking very hot. Let me tell you. They're going to have to sweep Seattle and then do it with a lot of damage if they want to win the Vedder Cup. Is there going to be a Vedder Cup trophy presentation this week? Is there? Because they made like a trophy, didn't they?
I believe I remember hearing that.
I remember hearing that too.
I could have completely hallucinated that, but
That's neither here nor there.
Exactly.
Do you have a lot of hallucinations, Frank?
Not recently, no.
Only in the morning.
Yeah. Usually right around the time my alarm wakes me up.
This noon lunch hour is brought to you by the Craft Taco, both flavors, the 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. We got the Vedder Cup coming about. And there's a couple things that we wanted to talk about. We did want to talk about an update on Michael King. Padres pitcher Michael King looked sharp in a simulated game at Petco Park, striking out 6 over 44 pitches while testing his left knee after inflammation set back his earlier return from a long nerve injury. King is eligible to come off the IL this week and could rejoin the rotation Friday in Minnesota, though he emphasized he wants to return as a full starter, not in a limited role. His mindset, quote, starting pitching wins championships. Other things to be noted about: infielder Will Wagner, son of Hall of Famer Billy Wagner, was called up to replace the injured Jackson Merrill over the weekend. He was acquired at the trade deadline from Toronto. Wagner hopes to contribute during the stretch run. And the quirky Vedder Cup returns this week in Seattle. Padres must sweep the Mariners and outscore them by 12 runs to claim the tongue-in-cheek trophy named after Pearl Jam frontman Eddie Vedder. So there you have it, Frank. They have to outscore the Mariners by 12 runs this week.
I mean, you can make it easy. Outscore them by 10, and then all you got to do is beat them by 1 run over the next 2 days.
All you got to do is just beat them for the next 2 days? Could you imagine they just drop 10 runs on them tonight? Hey, man, they need to be locked in for the Vedder Cup. I'm sure the pregame speech is going to be great.
It's easy, guys. Just do it.
Just go out there and do it.
Do the thing.
So he wants to come back, Michael King does, in a full-on role of a starting pitcher. Should the Padres ease King back slowly after 2 IL stints this year, or throw him right back in the rotation to stretch out for October? I would prefer the latter on that one. Hopefully his knee's ready to go, but he needs to get up to speed quickly because they need him in the postseason more than anything else. I mean, he missed the majority of How about this, too, by the way? Going into the beginning of the season, when talking about the rotation and what kind of the problem the rotation would be, right? If they were going to lose somebody. They missed Yu Darvish for the first 2 months of the year. Almost 2.5 months of the year. Significant amount of time. Dylan Cease has not been the level of Dylan Cease that the Padres probably expected him to be when they acquired him. Michael King has been on 2 separate IL stints where he's missed almost the majority of the season. And your back end has been a little bit of a rotation of different, just a couple of different arms. I mean, you're rolling out with Randy Vasquez, and you had some other young arms you end up trading away. I mean, with all of those circumstances, it's kind of amazing right now that the Padres are in a position where they're tied for the National League West lead with the Dodgers with 31 games to go. That's honestly really surprising. Well, Michael King's right. Starting pitching wins near the end of the season. We need to get him back up to speed. The Padres need to get him back up to speed and ready to go for October. We might be a bad influence on people, Frank, when it comes to food. Our boy Travis Gundy, who got his shirt yesterday or 2 days ago. I shipped off 8 more shirts on Friday after the show. Did Inter Milan score? Okay.
First of the year.
Travis in the chat goes, I had some Arby's this weekend thanks to the Beef Soup Show. I haven't had Arby's. I got to get it now. I have talked about it enough. This weekend might be the weekend to do it. Maybe there's an Arby's by our hotel in San Jose. I doubt it, but it's possible.
You have
I need to get back on track with food, though.
You have another plate of Italian food sitting in the fridge, by the way.
You brought another one?
Yes.
Is it more lasagna?
No, we had it's meatballs, and we had I can't think of it.
Quick, go run to the fridge, see what it is.
No, I know what it is. I can't think of the name right now.
Oh my god.
Manicotti.
Ooh, manicotti. Manicotti's good.
Manigot for those of you who actually know how to speak the language, but manicotti was the first thing that came to my mind. That's probably what you would have known it as.
Yes.
Which is why I said it.
So anyway, I guess I'll be having that for lunch. Because Rod asked what it was for lunch. It's not going to be Arby's. It's going to be manicotti. All right.
Manigot.
I don't have an interview to replay, so I can eat the food this time. Dang it. All right. Starting pitching wins championships, Michael King said. I do agree with that to an extent. The bullpen's been better, but in order to keep the bullpen going, you need to have starting pitching to finish the season. You need Michael King to get at least how many starts would you feel comfortable with Michael King getting to finish the season to be ready to pitch game 1 of the playoffs? Even though you might want to go with Nick Pivetta, just to get him if you want Michael King to be himself game 1 of a playoff series, how many starts do you want to see him get in the final month of the year?
3 minimum, I would say ideally 4.
Ideally 4, and get the pitch count up to 100.
Yes.
It'd be nice to have 3 to 4 starts of more than 5 innings as well.
Yes.
5 would be great too, but I think a minimum of 3 also. I would be shocked if he doesn't pitch against the Twins coming up this weekend. Do Padres fans care about the Vedder Cup now that they're 3 games down in the Vedder Cup?
I think the better question is, do Padre fans care about the Vedder Cup?
People care. It's a cult following. There's a reason why they put it in there.
That's, you know what? That's true.
I'm not totally.
Well,
against
who knows?
the Vedder
Maybe
Cup.
it's Seattle. Maybe it's Seattle's fans who have been the ones that have really hyped it up.
Maybe the Mariners this week feel the extra pressure of the Vedder Cup on top of the fact that they're spiraling out of control.
As Seattle tends to normally do.
You know what? Seattle does do that a lot near the end of the season. So, pressure versus opportunity with the Padres right now. I don't think they have a lot of pressure in terms of the division. I think the pressure's still on Los Angeles. I think the Padres now, knowing that they got through LA, knowing what the schedule is, they can focus on playing baseball and just going out there and playing ball, because the pressure is on Los Angeles to not choke away a division that they basically did in July by relinquishing the 9-game lead that they had, which, by the way, back when they had the 9-game lead, all the Dodger fans were talking about how it was over and the division was wrapped up and time to coast for the second half. Dodgers are not going to be able to coast in the second half of the season. They're not going to be able to coast in the last 31 games of the year. And I thought for a second last weekend, when the Padres got swept by the Dodgers, I was like, oh, here we go. Here's the time for the Dodgers to go on a run. And then they go to Colorado, and it was a house of horrors for the Dodgers in Colorado. And then the Padres take 2 out of 3 from LA here. And the Padres, by taking 2 out of 3 from LA here, has also helped the fact that the Rockies and the Dodgers since July 4th have been relatively the same level team in terms of what their wins and losses were. And the Rockies have outplayed the Dodgers since the 4th of July, record-wise. So maybe the 3 games that the Dodgers won was almost a little bit of a fluke. Maybe you can say that. Maybe you can't. I just feel like aside from the 3 games in a row that they beat the Padres, I mean, they really have not had any type of success over a long term, at least since July. I mean, they have been playing rough baseball. They have had some good spots mixed in, but I think the Padres are in a prime position right now where they can take the most of this opportunity and not have to feel the pressure. I think they are now applying the pressure on the Dodgers. And I said this at the beginning of the season. I still believe it. When the Dodgers had to deal with pressure back in 2022 or whatever, 2023? Is 23 or 21? Whatever year the Giants ended up winning the division. The Giants kept pace them the entire time, and they outlasted the Dodgers late in the season because the Dodgers had to deal with the pressure. So keep applying the pressure and go out and win the division. It's right there in front of them. And the Padres have the ability to do that. For scoreboard watching opportunities here, games that mattered over the weekend, Philadelphia took 2 out of 3 from Washington, so you're still right where you were going into the weekend behind Philadelphia in the standings. The New York Mets were able to knock off the Braves 2 out of 3. So they're the team that is currently behind the Padres, one of the teams that's behind the Padres in the standings. Padres still maintaining a 4.5 game lead on the New York Mets. As mentioned before, Padres are now 2.5. Are they 2.5 games back? 3 games back? They are 2.5 games back from Philadelphia and 2 games back from Chicago as of right now. Speaking of Chicago, they swept the Angels this weekend, so that was a big reason why they were able to gain another game on the Padres and the Dodgers. And then Arizona takes 2 out of 3 from Cincinnati. Cincinnati now drops to a 1.5 games behind the Mets for a wild card spot and 6 games behind the Padres in the standings. This week in Major League Baseball, starting tonight, Philadelphia and New York. Big series for both the Phillies and the Mets. Padres fans, now's a good time to root for Frank's Mets. I'll tell you that right now. Got a good enough lead above the Mets, and you could use the Mets to beat up on the Phillies a little bit so you can make up some ground on Philadelphia. Arizona has Milwaukee. Again, Milwaukee has a 7-game lead on the Dodgers and the Padres. I think it's going to be very difficult to potentially catch Milwaukee. I think it's going to be difficult for the Phillies to catch Milwaukee, and they're 4.5 games out. But if you're still looking for the 1 seed, that is the game that you're paying attention to tonight, Diamondbacks and Brewers. Also tonight, Dodgers and Reds from Chavez Ravine. Dodgers and Reds will start at 7:10. Hunter Green for Cincinnati, Emmett Sheehan for the Dodgers. As we pay attention to what LA does and pay attention to what the Padres do here in these final 31 games of the season. The race to the finish is on. Padres' final 31 games, just to recap, they got 6 coming up on the road, 3 in Seattle, 3 against Minnesota, while the Dodgers are playing Cincinnati and Arizona at home. Padres will welcome Baltimore when they come back as the Dodgers go to Pittsburgh. Padres will play at Colorado as the Dodgers go to Baltimore. And then 3 against Cincinnati for the Padres while the Dodgers play the Rockies. Padres then play the Rockies for the Dodgers to play the Giants. And it's Philly, San Francisco, Arizona, Seattle for LA to finish the season. It is New York Mets, Chicago White Sox, Milwaukee, and Arizona for the Padres to finish the season. I agree with people in the chat. I'm not super afraid of Milwaukee. And I do think that they have hit their stride at the wrong time. But that being said, I think they're going to be I don't think they're going to lose their place in the standings behind anybody. Philadelphia, Chicago, the Dodgers. I mean, I don't think any of those teams are going to catch Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee is the 1 seed. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not afraid of Milwaukee. I'm really not. And even if the Padres lose to Milwaukee, that doesn't mean you're like, oh, you missed it. No, I'm not afraid of Milwaukee. I do agree. I think they hit their stride a little bit too early. Plus, the Mets went in there last year and Pete Alonso'd them. So, until the Brewers get over the hump in the postseason, there's really no reason to fret them. I mean, there's no reason to be afraid of Milwaukee. But they're another team that continues to just like cycle through their players all the time and are yet right there in the thick of things every single year. I didn't think they're going to have a great year this year, and they ended up doing it again. And they did it with Craig Counsell. Now they're doing it with Pat Murphy. I mean, I don't really think it matters who the manager is. They've traded away stars, but they've done a good job getting to that point and 4.5 games in front of Philadelphia. But the Padres right now, if you're looking at scoreboard watching, looking forward, looking straight, to me, and Frank said this first, and I agree with Frank, it's the Phillies and the Dodgers. Those are the two teams that you're paying attention to the most. Phillies and the Dodgers. So that's where it's at. Yeah. The Milwaukee hasn't done anything in the playoffs in the last handful of years. They go and they're like one and done. They can't get on too many runs. They're just not a scary team. I mean, you could say that about the Padres, I guess, because they haven't done it either, but it doesn't take away from the fact that Milwaukee hasn't done anything. I always find that funny. And you find this funny, Frank? When you bring this up about a team, like this team's never done X, Y, Z, and then the immediate deflection is, well, your team hasn't done that. I'm not saying my team hasn't done that. All I'm saying is the Brewers haven't done anything in the playoffs in the last 20 years.
Some people get overly defensive.
Way too defensive.
Just knee-jerk reaction is to just deflect.
Deflect and go to your team?
Yep.
Hey, man, I really don't think the Cowboys can get it done. Oh, what about the... Relax, dog. Still a fact. Regardless, still a fact. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, first weekend of high school football in full force. We'll talk a little bit about that, what the big players were, who the big teams were over the weekend. We got some college football stuff to talk about as well in the next segment or so. Plus, we need to get a contestant for the midday sports standoff. If you could take me down in some sports trivia, you would qualify for our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas, plus VIP admission to AYU Day Club and $175 food and beverage credit. Celebrate summer with a 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas. Dine poolside at one of the 5 unique pool experiences in the 5.5 acres pool complex, largest elevated pool deck on the Las Vegas Strip, and experience AYU Day Club, a stunning oasis inspired by the islands of Southeast Asia, where the ultimate party concepts transform the weekend into a never-ending summer. Special summer rates available now at rwlasvegas.com, now offering no resort fees and complimentary parking. We're going to get to that at about 12:35, but when we come back, I'll update on the high school football scene here in San Diego. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. Frank perked up. Little Eddie Vedder for you. Pearl Jam. Vedder Cup tonight. Padres and Mariners. Inter Milan scored in Serie A again. Frank's freaking out.
Marcus Thuram.
There you go. I need a Serie A team.
You got one right up on screen there.
Inter Milan.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna be an Inter fan. I mean, my family's from like southern Italy, though, so.
Oh, that's right.
Southern
Yes,
Italy and
yes.
Sicily. It's a little bit different. Slightly.
Gotcha. All right. I'll look for something.
Yeah, we'll have to figure something out. It was cool being out there when, I mean, there was no soccer going on. We were out there for the debacle that was Inter Milan in the final.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Other than that, anyway, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I do want to get into a Michael King conversation later. And I think it's going to be in the 1 o'clock hour. Like, yes, he's coming back. Yes, he needs to be brought back in a sense of being a full-fledged starter, and they got to get him ramped up for the season. But at the same time, there's a lot of questions involving Michael King for the future. Remember, he went through this arbitration process, and it sounded like the Padres might be willing to bring him back, and he's a free agent at the end of the year, but there's a lot of questions to ask now. I mean, for a guy that's been a bullpen piece for the majority of his career, last year, he pitched the most innings that he has ever pitched in a season. This year, he's only thrown like 57 innings. I mean, he's been hurt twice. Now, one of them is like a fluke injury, but then the knee thing. And it's just, can you make a big decision like that at the end of the year? It's an interesting conversation. But to dive back into high school football over the weekend, here's what happened on Friday. Okay. Game of the night was San Marcos and Mount Miguel. The number 18 Mount Miguel Matadors were able to knock off the 7th-ranked San Marcos Knights, at least according to the San Diego Union Tribune's top 10. And we have the new top 10 ready to go. We'll get you to in a second. They won 28-27 after relying on a punishing 81-yard ground-heavy drive in the fourth quarter. Running back Jaden Hunter carried 7 times on that series before Jeremiah Loper punched it in. Matadors forced 5 turnovers, but still had to sweat out a San Marcos 2-point try in the final minute that sailed incomplete. San Marcos scored to make it 28-27, and in 1 minute to go, decided to go for 2. They didn't get it, and Mount Miguel ends up winning 28-27. Other scores for you in high school football from Friday. The number 1 Lincoln Hornets went out to Punahou, out to Hawaii to take on Punahou, and they won 57-29. Rashad Robinson, who is Roderick Robinson's Jr.'s brother. Roderick Robinson plays for Georgia now, also a Lincoln Hornet. Rashad Robinson, in his first game as a Hornet, 148 yards rushing against Punahou. Number 2 in the county, Cathedral Catholic dominated Modern Day. They won 49-7. 2 special teams touchdowns for the Dons, which was great. Number 3 in the county, Mission Hills blanked Courts Hill 31-0 as Troy Hune accounted for 3 scores. He's committed to Penn State. Granite lit up the scoreboard with Zach Benitez throwing for 456 yards. Zach Benitez, quarterback for Granite Hills, threw 456 yards in the air, 4 touchdowns, and a 45-29 win over the 9th-ranked Oceanside Pirates. Number 5, LCC blasted St. Augustine 43-14 with 3 return touchdowns. Number 6 in the county, Carlsbad, looked sharp in a 43-0 shutout of Lakewood. El Camino upset Helix. I don't know how much of an upset that really was. I liked El Camino in this game, but Helix is ranked 10th in the county going into the season. El Camino won 31-21 behind Gavin Wasserman's dual threat performance. Elsewhere, standout individual efforts include Imperial Santonio Arena, accounting for 7 touchdowns. San Antonio Arena, 7 touchdowns in a high school football game. Holtville's Enrique Armas rushed for 230 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Point Loma's Romeo Carter had 236 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Some of the big time performers last Friday night in the high school football world. In terms of the top 10, I had my vote in this week for the top 10, and I'll tell you what my vote was before we get to what the votes were. I voted for Lincoln number 1. I have Cathedral Catholic 2, LCC 3, Mission Hills 4, Granite Hills 5, Carlsbad 6, El Camino 7, Mount McGill 8, Rancho Bernardo 9, and San Marcos 10. The top 10 for the high school football media poll was just sent out moments ago. Lincoln's gets the number 1 spot with 25 first place votes. Cathedral number 2 with 5 first place votes, followed by Mission Hills, Granite Hills, La Costa Canyon, Carlsbad, Mount McGill, El Camino, San Marcos, and Poway. Oceanside, RB, Bishops, Torrey Pines, Point Loma, and Santa Fe Christian all received votes in this week's top 10 in San Diego County. So that's your look at the high school football world from Friday night. Got some people asking, how did Ramona do? Steel Canyon beat Ramona on Friday night. Helix lost to to El Camino, as mentioned before. Should have some pretty good football games coming up, but some pretty interesting games. I mean, week 1, Frank, you had a game come down to a 2-point conversion. San Marcos can't get the 2-point conversion. Mount McGill wins, but how about some of the performances on the ground? 7 touchdowns for Imperial Santonio Urania, and then, of course, Benitez throwing for 457 yards in a game for Granite Hills.
That is absolutely insane. It doesn't matter what level you're at, whether it's high school, college, or pro, throwing for 400 yards and getting 7 touchdowns in a different game. That's just flat out impressive.
Steel Canyon got the win, as mentioned before. Again, you look at the landscape of high school football, and Adam Paulster and Trey Arnold had 6 touchdown passes and 457 yards too. A lot of other games that were out there to watch, but Trey Arnold plays for Mission Bay, thanks to Adam Paul in the chat. And we got some great games coming up again this weekend. It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, this high school football world is off and running here in San Diego. Other things for that, I was trying to see, I liked, and I was watching some of the highlights. Granite looked pretty good against the team in Oceanside that had returning 14 starters. I think LCC is going to have a really good year. They got off to a great start against St. Augustine. Didn't get to see too much of the highlights with Lincoln out in Hawaii against Punahou, but Lincoln's got a very difficult schedule. I mean, they got to play Mission Viejo this year up in the southern section, and Mission Viejo, this is the team. I keep hearing from the people of Orange County, this is the year Mission Viejo gets one of the Trinity League schools, either Bosco or Mater Dei. So that should be something to look for in the future down the road. But Lincoln's got to play Mission Viejo. They got a really difficult schedule. We got schools all over the place, flying all over the place to play high school football games. We got one on in here, and it's a replay from last week where IMG Academy was up on Hoover 34-7. IMG Academy. It's crazy. They're playing at a baseball stadium. The camera angles are all jacked up. It's kind of crazy. Lincoln's got Long Beach Poly this week, according to Adam Paul. Cathedral will be at St. Francis, as mentioned before. And then I think a lot of our teams are staying in town, but we'll have more on that later in the week. When we come back, we'll get you a quick update on what happened in college football. We will also continue our conversation on the Padres. We also need a contestant for our midday sports standoff. Give us a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you call in, talk to Frank, say you want to play the game, and if you could take me down in sports trivia, you'll be entered for a chance to win a trip to Vegas. I don't know how many qualifiers we have, and we're getting near the end of the month. I mean, this is the last week you can qualify for this particular prize.
Had more than we had last month, that's for sure. I don't know the exact number, but I do know it's more than we had for July.
Guys got a lot of Little League questions mixed in there. Getting some victories.
We're going to do the game a little bit differently today. So
okay. It's probably some stat thing. It's going to screw
it
you
is.
up. Okay. Yeah. Well, you got a pretty good chance then, so call in. When we come back, recap week 0. See how we did with our picks. Me, Frank, and Skylar. Might be pretty even based on what we saw over the weekend. We'll talk about it when we come back. 12:39 on a Monday. Well, Monday morning turned into Monday afternoon here on America's finest city. It's great when you take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. It would have been better if yesterday didn't end the way it did.
Can't get greedy. That's why I always say
you got to get greedy, though.
That's why I always say a sweep is a bonus. You can never expect a sweep.
They could have used the bonus.
They could have used it, definitely, without a doubt. I'm not arguing that, but I'm saying that you can't expect it, and you can't call a series a failure if they don't complete it.
I thought it was a successful weekend series for the Padres.
100%.
Now, we have now started the best time of the year. This is the best time of the year, Frank.
Yes, it is.
It's the best time of the year. And when your baseball team is good, it makes it even better of the best time of the year. The worst time of the year is February. I hate February. Late January, early February sucks. The weather sucks. There's nothing on TV sports-wise. Sure, you have the Super Bowl, but at that point, you're there for food anyway. You really care about the game. It's the worst time of the year. The NHL and NBA are in the middle of their season. They're just kind of dragging along, getting ready. Like postseason starts till April. You're still well out from Major League Baseball coming back. It's the end of the football season. February sucks. To February sucking, late August, early September is the best. We have high school football kicked off. Week 1 is done. Or week 0. They're week 0. College football kicked off week 0. Fun, little teaser, a little bit of a taste. Then we got playoff hunt baseball for the month of September. Padres are trying to battle for a division. Got the NFL starting up after Labor Day. And we got week 1 of college football coming up this weekend. It starts on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Boise State, right?
There's a lot of San Diego State plays Thursday, too.
Oh, that is right.
Thanks for paying attention.
Listen, man.
Nah, wasn't your week.
I was expecting Saturday.
No, it's Thursday. You going to the game on Thursday?
Well, now I'm not going to San Ysidro on Thursday. I'm definitely going to San Diego State on Thursday.
You going to the Olympian game on Friday?
I most likely will. They're playing Vista.
They might be able to win that game.
Vista lost last week, too.
They're definitely going to win that game. So you look at and this is the best part, because you show the top 25 scores, it's only a handful of teams. But you dive into some college football. Thursday, you mentioned Boise State, South Florida. Ohio plays Rutgers. All the games start Boise State's playing South Florida at 2:30 in the afternoon on Thursday. I mean, they kick off right after our show's done. Ohio, Rutgers, Lafayette, Bowling Green, East Carolina, NC State, Jacksonville State, UCF, Delaware State, Delaware, St. Francis, University of Louisiana, Monroe, Wyoming, Akron, Central Arkansas at Missouri, Elon at Duke, UT Martin at Oklahoma State, Buffalo at Minnesota, Stephen F. Austin at Houston, Alabama State at UAB, Nebraska at Cincinnati, Miami of Ohio at Wisconsin, and Stony Brook at San Diego State. That's just Thursday. Then you got Friday's games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 games on Friday. Usual slate on Saturday. Everybody in college football. And then you have 2 games on Sunday. You got Virginia Tech going down to South Carolina, the Beamer Bowl. And you got Notre Dame, Miami, Sunday night on ABC. And then you got Monday, TCU, North Carolina.
Who does USD start off with?
USD's got Cal Poly on Saturday.
Ah, there you go.
At 5 o'clock. I will be doing that game with Jack Cronin.
That's why I
on
asked.
ESPN Plus.
Shameless plug.
We got to get Brandon Moore on the show this week. Head coach of USD.
Let you set that up.
I've already talked to. I've planted the seed already. Saturday's games got some great games, by the way, as we've talked about before. And you look at, and I got to pull the top 25 back up to make it easier to find all these games. You have a lot of ranked matchups this weekend.
Yep.
And one of them, as Adam Klug mentioned, the national championship is on Saturday. It's number 1 Texas versus number 3 Ohio State.
Tennessee, Syracuse is going to be a really good one. You have Notre Dame, Miami on Sunday.
Alabama, Florida State's kind of sneaky down in Tallahassee. But you look at the Ohio State-Texas game, too. Ohio State's starting quarterback's a San Diego kid.
Yep.
Julian Sayin getting the start for Ohio State, 1.5-point favorite.
LSU Clemson, Battle of the Tigers.
Yes, you're really excited about that one.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. I guess it's the way you say Tigers.
Well, no, it's how you spell go. It's either G-O or G-E-A-U-X or however they spell it down in the bayou.
Say Clemson with a P or not a P? Clemson. Overall, the weekend. Did you get to watch any college football over the weekend?
I did. I got to watch a little bit. I got to watch the Hawaii Stanford game.
That was fun.
At Snapdragon, which was fantastic. And I got to see the Iowa State K-State game.
Farmageddon goes to Iowa State. They won 24-21. We all lose. Me, Skylar, and Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Idaho State came back. They almost beat UNLV. That's a little concerning if you're the Rebs in their first game. Or they had the whole thing where Dan Mullen's like, oh, we got to get people to come to the game and stuff like that. They ain't going to show up. He ain't beating up on Idaho State, man. Idaho State makes it within a 7-point game. UNLV wins 38-31. Skylar and I lose. Frank won because of the spread. It was a 26-point favorite for the UNLV. Fresno State goes to Kansas. Kansas opens up their brand new building, which has no shade. No shade panels whatsoever. I don't know if anybody cares about that. Brand new building, college football, no shade. It's hot there. It's hot in Kansas. Nobody bitches about them not having shade. No shade. Kansas wins 31-7. They hammer the Bulldogs. All of us win on that particular pick. Sam Houston drops the game to West Kentucky. West Kentucky rolls in a conference game. Myself and Skylar win that matchup. Frank loses. And then Stanford and Hawaii. We all picked Hawaii at home with the points, and they cover. It was 2.5. They won by 3. The Rainbow Warriors.
Go Rainbow Warriors.
Getting it done. And so after it all settles, we're all 2-2 to start the year. We can't all be 2-2. There's 5 games.
Oh, we're all 3-2 then.
We're all 3-2.
2-3.
All win. Yeah.
Bad.
No, we're 3-2.
Oh, we're 3-2.
We all won 2 games,
you're right.
and then we each won 1, and then 3-2. Come on. Give us credit like that.
Math on the radio, bud.
Nobody believes Penn State's a top 3 team.
Oh, stop it.
I believe it. They open up against Nevada.
Yes, they do.
Are they covering 44 points on Saturday?
No.
Not covering 44 at home.
No, I don't like those massive spreads. I said that when that was my rationale for picking Idaho State, is that you give too big a spread. I'm not taking it. I don't care how good the other team is, especially in football.
They might be able to beat them by 44 points.
Especially in especially in football, though, there's so many things that can go just one way by accident. You can win a football game by accident. And as Idaho State proved this week, I'm not taking a giant spread like that. I don't care who it is.
We'll get our picks on Thursday. Try to get Brandon Moore on the show, USD's head coach as well. Later on in the week, college football's back, baby. Get excited. It's time to get to our midday sports standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me, Miss?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
This Penn State thing's going to be hilarious because my buddies root for Penn State, and it's going to be great. I can't wait for this. The recap you guys will have against Nevada is going to be phenomenal.
That was an uncalled for shot, by the way, in the chat just now.
Penn State is the Mets of college football. Wow.
Thank you.
That's a foul. That's a foul on Adam.
Foul.
And then he leaves, strikes and leaves. All right, what do we got today?
Love you too, Adam. All right, we have David in El Cajon is our contestant today. David, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Okay, so today we're going to play the game a little bit different. This is it's a sports stat question, but it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to lay it out, and then David, you're going to get the first crack at it. It's going to be a lot like Chris versus the fans. So you're going to get the first crack at it. If you get it right, we move on to the next one. If you get it wrong and Braden gets it right, then you get an X. If you both get it wrong, we just move on to the next one. All right?
Okay.
Okay. So the first one. So there are 7 major leaguers that have hit 200 or more home runs with 2 different teams. Okay? So the first one, this player hit 469 home runs with the St. Louis Cardinals and 222 with the Angels. Who is it?
Albert Pujols.
All right, there you go. Off and rolling already. Manny
Ramirez. Bing. Got it.
Okay, so Manny Ramirez hit 236 home runs with what team and 274 with the other team?
So Manny Ramirez hit.
This is David. You still have it.
No, it's still
David still has it.
Okay, so I'm going to say
You're
the Red
Chris
Sox
Ello in this case.
and the Indians.
Correct. Now going back to the way it should be played, this player hit 417 home runs with Seattle and 210 with Cincinnati.
Is it my turn? Or?
Yep. You're still
Continue
going.
to be your
Ken
turn.
Griffey Jr. Sorry. Ken Griffey Jr.
You can clinch the win here with this one. This next one might be a little bit more difficult. This player hit 321 with the Texas Rangers and 223 with Baltimore.
Rafael Palmeiro.
Well, you got the win already. So, like I said, we're doing this a little bit differently. Sometimes Chris Ello doesn't get to jump in the game. This player hit 363 home runs with Oakland and 220 with St. Louis.
Mark McGuire.
And the last one, I'll be stunned if either one of you get this one. This player hit 302 home runs with the Philadelphia A's and 222 with the Boston Red Sox.
I actually know this one.
I don't know this one.
Braden to steal.
Jimmy Fox.
That is, and there's the 7. So, David, congratulations. You have qualified. Just hang on. I'll get your information during the break there. So, a little bit different to play this game. I thought just throwing out, hey, who are the 7 that did it might be a little bit more difficult. So, I figured I'd give you guys the hints. And Braden enjoyed sitting on his thumbs for this entire game.
Create the pasta.
You could have done, yes.
I didn't know we were going with that, but that's fine. Hey, we're trying to get more contestants here, more winners. How about that? Good stuff.
So there we go.
There we go.
Got yourself a winner.
Interesting stuff on the Michael King situation with like the future that we're going to get to in the next hour. Time to even up the Vedder Cup. I don't know if the Padres are going to be able to do that, but they're going to have to sweep the Mariners in the next 3 games and then make sure that they beat them by 12 runs if they want to win the Vedder Cup. If not, I mean, just take it 2 out of 3 would be good. You're trying to outpace the Dodgers right now. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. We haven't even mentioned yet. San Diego FC is the first MLS team to clinch a playoff spot.
Yes.
They did it over the weekend. You were at the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to give us a recap about that. I know we'll talk more about it later, but
solid game. A lot of calls not going San Diego FC's way. A lot of like ticky-tacky foul calls. They had 2 goals called back for offside. It was not a good day to be on the rule book side for San Diego FC. However, got the win. Biggest issue though, Corey Beard, friend of the show, Corey Beard,
friend of the show,
comes on the show and then immediately gets hurt. It's like it's like the 35th minute. It was not good. But good news as far as Corey Beard is concerned. That offense with him at the striker position looked the best and most creative that it has been with anyone up in that spot all season long. That was the best offensive game so far that they have played this season, with him leading the charge as like more of a distributing forward. He made a couple of very, very good plays that got both Dreyer and Lozano open for good shots in close. So very unfortunate loss, but they were looking really good with him up front.
Playoff spot is clinched for San Diego FC. We'll talk about that in the next hour. We got some Michael King conversation that we want to get to as well. Preview Padres and Mariners coming up tonight at 6:40, and a whole lot more. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show as we roll on. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. This hour on 97 Through the Fan is brought to you by U.S. Wellness Meats. It's overwhelmed by processed foods. U.S. Wellness Meats offers an all-natural alternative, 100% grass-fed beef, pork, poultry, wild-caught seafood, and more. Ship free from family farms. Get 20% off your first order at uswellnessmeats.com. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3. The Fan. We're leading you up to Gwynn and Chris, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby, getting ready for Padres baseball with the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show starting up after them. That will get underway at 5:40, with first pitch tonight being at 6:40 for Padres and Mariners. We'll talk more about that later on in this hour. But as we get to the JP Sears Bryce Miller matchup tonight, JP 8-10 with a 4.94 ERA. Bryce Miller on the year 2-5 with a 5.87 ERA for tonight's game. Again, they're going 640, 640, and then 110 on Wednesday. We'll give you a preview on that later on. We'll talk a little bit about San Diego FC later on as well in this hour. They clinched a playoff berth, which is awesome in their first year of being an MLS franchise. That will be when we come up next. But let's talk a little bit about, and we gave you an update on Michael King. You know, Michael King looked sharp in a simulated game at Petco Park, struck out 6 over 44 pitches while testing his left knee after inflammation set back his early return from a long nerve injury. King is eligible to come off the injured list this week and could rejoin the rotation Friday in Minnesota, though he emphasized he wants to return as a full starter, not in a limited role. His mindset, quote, starting pitching wins championships. That was in an article from Jeff Sanders in the Union Tribune today or over the weekend. Now, here's the thing about Michael King. He's a free agent at the end of the year, just like Dylan Cease is. And this leads to an interesting topic of conversation. Like last year, when he was acquired by the Padres in the Juan Soto deal, really? Last, 2 winters ago. He had some starting experience, but not a lot. And he was mostly a bullpen piece for the New York Yankees, but the Padres acquired him to be a starting pitcher. And he did a great job last year as a starting pitcher. But as a starting pitcher, last season he threw the most innings he had ever thrown. So if you look at his overall numbers for his career, and he's 30 years old this year. Okay, came up to the big leagues in 2019 at age 24, pitched 1 game, had 2 innings, gave up a run, it was unearned. In 2020, in the shortened season, at age 25, he was 1-2 with a 7.76 ERA, made 9 appearances, and started 4 games. 2021, as a 26-year-old, started 6 games, pitched in 22. In 2022, he didn't make any starts. He had 34 appearances out of relief, had a great year, 2.29 ERA. And then in 2023, before he became a Padres last season in New York, he did get 9 starts for the Yankees and appeared in 49 games. And at that point, had the best year of his career so far. He had a 3.3 WAR. A 2.75 ERA. His overall record was 4-8, but as a bullpen guy, I mean, I think records don't really matter too much. He gets traded to the Padres. And by the way, that was 104 innings pitched. The long goal for starting pitchers is they want to throw 200 innings in a season. So innings pitched-wise, in 2019, he threw 2. In 2020, he threw 26 and 2/3. In 2021, he threw 63 and 1/3. In 2022, he threw 51 innings, 2023, he threw 104, and last year he threw 173 innings. 173 and 2/3 innings. Then you go to this season. He's got a 2.81 ERA. He's doing a good job. He's made 11 starts. He's only pitched in 11 games, which is the least amount since 2020 when he pitched in 9. And again, he's been hurt for a lot of the year. And this season, he's 4-2 with a 2.81 ERA over 57 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's 30 years old. So now the question becomes for Michael King and really for the Padres, is this the writing on the wall of what could potentially come if you decide to make him an everyday starting pitcher in the future and give him a big contract? You know, he hasn't pitched a lot of innings in his career. I mean, last year was the first time that he threw that amount of innings in a season at the major league level, 173. That's not including the playoffs. In the postseason last year, he threw an additional 12 innings. So, I mean, he was relatively close to throwing almost 200 innings last year for the first time in his career. And so now the question becomes, because he's a free agent at the end of the year, is he still worth giving a long-term contract to, despite him missing a significant amount of time in 2025? I think it's an interesting topic of discussion, but at the same time, he's kind of had a fluke injury this year. I mean, the nerve injury, the pinched nerve situation that he had, and he did it sleeping. It's not, you can't just sit there and be like the guy's soft or like his body's made of glass. It's a very unfortunate situation. The knee thing is interesting too. I mean, I don't know where that came from. Obviously, he tweaked it doing something. But I think you really can't make a decision on Michael King until the rest of the season plays out for the Padres. And here's the other thing too. You need arms in the starting rotation in the future. Yes, you're getting Joe Musgrove back in 2026. Yu Darvish is coming back, and he's starting to look a little bit better now as of late. You have a couple other guys under contract. But you have 3 pitchers right now in your starting rotation that aren't coming back next year. It is Michael King. It is Dylan Cease, and it's now Nestor Cortez. Everybody else is coming back for 2026. Nick Pavetta's under contract, as well as, J.P. Sears was acquired. He's under contract. Randy Vasquez is under contract. So you're starting to piece it together a little bit. Can the Padres afford to let Michael King walk? That's the other thing, too. It's kind of like the situation with quarterbacks where you have a good quarterback, but there are some question marks of whether or not he could be that franchise great quarterback. Maybe it's injuries, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Small sample size on him being in the rotation. Can he make it to the end of the season? Those are all major question marks that you have to be 100% confident in when you decide to make the decision of spending a lot of money for a starting pitcher. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. If I had to pick between the 3 guys that are going to be free agents at the end of the year and pick one to be on the Padres long term, it's definitely going to be Michael King. I think he kind of got the raw end of the deal this year with some of the injuries. That happens in sports. And the other thing with pitchers is, like, position players, I think you get a little bit afraid nowadays to guys getting in their 30s. But we have seen a lot of good pitchers in Major League Baseball thrive in their mid to late 30s. And so even though Michael King's 30 years old and next year will be his 31-year-old season, I still think it'd be worth giving him money to stay on the roster for the next 5-6 years. And this is going to be more of a conversation for the offseason, because it's obviously going to be a glaring thing for the offseason. You're losing 3 pitchers in your starting rotation going into next year. If you want to include Nestor Cortez on there, I think you're going to bring one of those guys back. I would prefer it to be Michael King. I don't think Dylan Cease comes back next year. But in order to bring any of those guys back, you're going to have to sign a very lengthy or very lucrative contract, and you have to be right. Because the one thing you can't do, the one thing the Padres can't afford to do is give out another big contract and then deal with injuries. But that's always going to be a risk. Does anything change now with the season that Michael King's had? I don't think it really does. I really don't think anything changes. I think he still needs to be the guy that's brought back. I think it's a little bit more of a fluke with some of these injuries. And I'm looking forward to seeing Michael King back in the rotation because the Padres could use him back in the rotation. It'd be nice to not have to rely on the bullpen all the time. And I thought you saw that over the weekend. I mean, Nestor Cortez was great over the weekend. He threw 1 hitter over 6 innings. Yu Darvish looked great on Friday night. And then even yesterday, like Nick Pivetta didn't have his best stuff, but he put the Padres into position to win. He'll get 2 runs. The 2-2 game, going to the bullpen. You like those odds more times than not. And that was with Pivetta being wild early in the ball game and Ramon Laureano snagging a potential grand slam. That was also really nice. Now, both Michael King and the Padres do have a mutual option. Michael King's not taking the mutual option for $15 million. I mean, he's going to get more than that in free agency anyway. So that's why I say he's not going to be here. Or, I mean, not that. That's why I think he's going to be a free agent and not going to be here in 2026 unless the Padres give him a contract. Because I don't think they're taking the mutual option. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Get your phone calls on this particular topic. We'll talk more about what the Padres did over the weekend against the Dodgers, preview the series against the Mariners, and talk a little bit about Frank's journey to San Diego FC on Saturday. That's all coming up next. I feel like the show just started. It's 1:18. Just ready to move on to the next thing of the day.
I blinked. It was 2-0 Inter. I blinked, and now it's 5-0. I have no idea what happened. I know Thuram scored one. I know Martinez scored one. This fifth goal is a phantom to me.
Didn't that just happen with one of your other teams?
Oh, Chelsea, yeah.
Chelsea did the same
on Friday.
thing. Yeah. So far, so good with you watching your team in this room.
Yes,
right now,
it is.
during our showtime.
They made up for, well, but here's the thing, though. Losing to PSG in the UEFA Champions League final is not made up for by beating Torino in week 1 of the Serie A season.
You're going to have to watch all your soccer teams play sitting in that chair.
I wouldn't mind it. Give me something to do on here at least.
What if they play during a Padre game? Hey, Adam, I got to run the board in the Padre game.
Yeah, right.
I got to see Inter Milan play today. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Let's get out to the phones. Davis in Oceanside. You're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, Davis?
Hey, what's up, Braden? On the Michael King topic, I think he's been a stud. I would love to re-sign him. It sounds like Suarez might be walking, so I guess the way it plays out in my head is Suarez leaves, Mason Miller slots into that role, and we use the Suarez money to re-sign Michael King. My quick question, though, if we make a deep run this year, like NL Championship or deeper, do you think that pocketbooks at all for ownership, or do you think that's kind of a foregone conclusion that we're cutting some payroll next year?
Well, it sounds like the Padres, and there was an article on this not too long ago, the Padres reinvest most of their money into the roster. At least that's what they said. Again, nobody's going to see their books, but I believe it. I mean, the team's loaded with talent, and they haven't not done that. Yeah, and ticket prices are getting raised again for next year, but they make a lot of extra money for the postseason. It's a lot of extra gate money for the San Diego Padres and their organization to be able to spend money. So I think the longer the postseason run that the Padres have, the more likelihood that they'll be able to spend money on other players. Now, when talking about the Michael King situation, again, the question was, is there any type of concerns now because of Michael King with a couple of injuries? Is it worth giving him the big contract? I said in the last segment, to me, these injuries are such a fluke this season. It's not as big of a concern as it would have been if he had like an elbow injury or, something that was a shoulder injury. I mean, he had a nerve thing happen to him while he's sleeping. That's nothing you can do about that. You sleep differently. But you look at Michael King and you look at some of the starting pitchers that are going to be available next year. Nestor Cortez, free agent at the end of the year. Dylan Cease, free agent at the end of the year. Michael King, free agent at the end of the year, assuming him and the Padres don't both agree on the $15 million mutual option, which I don't think is going to be the case. Michael King's going to get more than that in free agency. He's not going to settle for $15 million and burn another year. He's going to go get his bag. So from that perspective, with some of the injuries that he might have had and not really being full, multiple years in a row of being a starting pitcher, can you take the risk that Michael King is going to be a great starting pitcher year in and year out? I think you can take that risk. And if I had to pick between any of the players that are leaving that are starting pitchers, he would be one of them. He would be one. I would pick him to stay and give him what he needs. Now, with players like Suarez potentially opting out, that saves you some money. I mean, he accounts for $9.2 million towards the luxury tax threshold. He's one of those players. I would imagine the Padres pick up Ramon Laureano because he's only going to make $6.5 million, and it's a club option. Diaz has a mutual option for $7 million. They won't take that on, but that's not part of the equation. Kyle Hart's got a $5 million club option. I don't think that's going to be picked up. We'll see what they decide to do with Jose Iglesias at $3 million, Ryan O'Hearn at $8 million. Luis Arraez is $14 million coming off the books, and Dylan Cease is $13.7 coming off the books. So they have some money coming off their payroll. But at the same time, players are getting raises. Like Manny gets a raise next year. Goes from 17 million to 25 million. Other players that are getting a raise. Nick Pivetta gets a major raise. Pavetta's getting $2.5 million this year. Then he makes $20.5 million next year. That's $18 million going to Nick Pivetta. Jake Cronenworth gets $1 million bump. And then a couple other players are getting some lowered salary. Like Yu Darvish goes from $21 million to $16 million. Out of all the years that you pay Yu Darvish, this is the most expensive year for you. So with all of those money like in and out and moving things around, I think they can put together a situation in which they can bring back Michael King. Other contracts that they don't have to pay anymore. Eric Hosmer's done collecting a check from the Padres at the end of this season. That's $12.8 million coming off the books. Ha-Seong Kim's $2 million buyout, not factored in for next year. Connor Joe is owed $236,000. That doesn't really matter too much. You do have some buyouts for these players. Like Elias Diaz is getting $2 million from the Padres next year, regardless of what happens. He's got a $2 million buyout. Kyle Hart's got a $500,000 buyout. Tyler Wade's got a $50,000 buyout. And if you want Michael King, if Michael King doesn't get the option, which he won't, you have to pay him $3.75 million anyway. So he's already accounting for $3.75 million on the books for next year anyway, because of his buyout and the way his buyout works. He's going to get that money. That's another reason why he's not going to opt into the mutual option. He'll just get the buyout, collect the $3.75 million, then negotiate with either the Padres or somebody else for a big contract. So a lot of these are questions and answers like in the future. None of this is really that relative right now. Padres, 31 games to go in the regular season, and they are tied with the Dodgers at the top of the leaderboard. And it starts tonight against the Mariners. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Scott and Del Mar, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Scott?
What's going on? Hey, I appreciate you taking my call. I just wanted to talk about what you were talking about, King. I think we go for him. I think he's been as advertised. Obviously, like you just said, with the injuries he's had, is kind of just fluke, in my opinion. And what you said, I agree with. So I think you give him what he's going to be, kind of earning over the last couple of years we've had him. If you can bring back Cortez on a smaller contract, maybe another year with a player or with a team option, something like that, I think that would be good because obviously another lefty in the rotation would be helpful. And then obviously I don't know what on the free agent market is right now or going into next off season, but obviously. Cease has been what he has been. But yeah, I just think that we need to load up on pitching for sure with Darvish getting older and then obviously Musgrove, coming back from injury. You never know what's going to happen with Tommy John. Obviously there's success rate with that surgery, but obviously loading up on arms, even, rolling it with a six-man rotation to start the next year. Maybe he's going to be helpful for down the stretch like we have right now, maybe going forward. So, I know people are indifferent on that, or, they have their ways of a 5-man or 6-man. But I think that would be good. But also just real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Carson Williams, top prospect with the Rays. I know this is the Padres station. I'm a huge Padre fan, but I coached a kid since 14 years old from Torrey Pines High School, local kid. Got drafted in the first round of 2021, just made his Major League Baseball debut on Friday. I was there in Tampa Bay. I'm super proud of the kid and just an honor and a blessing to coach the kid since he was 14. And hit a bomb, fourth at bat, went 2 for 4, 3 RBIs, and a big home run with his family and myself there. And it's been an awesome trip. Just got back. So thank you for your time and God bless. And let's go Padres. Let's go.
That's great, Scott. Really appreciate the phone call, man. Love seeing the San Diego kids going out there and doing great things. And we put as many San Diego kids on our show as possible, and college football and the National Football League and MLB and all that stuff. So another great product out of San Diego making his debut, and we appreciate Scott and Del Mar for the phone call on that. We had a couple of people ask some questions in the YouTube chat about certain contract situations, like what happens if Yu Darvish retires and stuff like that. We will get to that when we come back and get you a preview of the Vedder Cup to finish up the show on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Braden Surprenant Show live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. Thanks again for making our day a part of yours. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. And we got Padres baseball coming up tonight at 6:40. Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt at 5:40. Looking forward to all of that. Padres take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers over the weekend. We talked about it earlier on the show. They did exactly what they needed to do. It would have been nice to get Sunday's game. It's frustrating that it kind of unraveled there. Seemed like there were some decisions that probably could have been avoided. But that being said, the Padres are tied for the lead for the National League West with 31 games to go. And those 31 games starts tonight as the Padres take on the Mariners. Padres and Dodgers is again tied for the leaderboard of the National League West. They trail the Cubs by 2 games for the top spot in the wild card. But you don't want to think about the Cubs in the wild card because that'd be a consolation prize. You want to think about the division and getting a first-round bye. So instead of looking at the Cubs for the 4 seed and trying to fend off the Mets, you should be watching the Phillies and the Dodgers games in your scoreboard watching as you try to track down the number 2 seed. I mean, that's who's in front of you for the 2 seed. It's Philadelphia, who's leading the East, and it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, who's obviously the team you're competing with for division. Tonight's games in Major League Baseball, we've talked about it briefly. Games to pay attention to. Reds and Dodgers start tonight in Los Angeles. Could use some help from the Cincinnati Reds. Reds need some help for themselves. They're trying to track down the New York Mets for the final spot in the National League wild card. Other games for you. Paying attention to Philadelphia. Well, they're playing the Mets. That's a big series this week in New York. Philadelphia and New York. Again, the Mets trying to hold off the Reds for the final wild card spot. Philadelphia trying to secure a 2 seed over the National League West representative because Milwaukee is so far out in advance that I don't even know anybody's really going to catch them. How are you feeling about Mets and Phillies this week?
Cautiously optimistic.
Optimistic?
We'll say that.
Need the Mets to do well. You got Kodai Senga on the hill tonight.
Yeah, taking 2 out of 3 against Atlanta was nice. Not going to lie. Again, sweep yesterday would have been great. But knowing what the Mets have done against the Phillies over the last couple of years certainly does help, especially last year in the postseason. They are at Citi Field, so feeling a little bit better about that. They do play them a 4-game series at the bank a couple weeks from now, but I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. I'm hoping for 2 out of 3 this week.
I think Padres fans are hoping for 2 out of 3 from the Mets.
Yes.
So it's Senga and Sanchez tonight, and then what do they got Tuesday and Wednesday?
I believe
Luzardo and Minaya.
Yeah, and then I believe Peterson goes on Wednesday.
Wednesday is Walker and McLean.
Oh, that's right. The new kid, McLean. He hasn't been bad. He's been really, really good. Has McLean
2-0 with a 1.46 ERA. Not a bad start.
No, 2 starts, 12 innings, 15 punchies. Take that.
Take that
out of a rookie.
Cubs got the Giants this week, but they don't start today. They start tomorrow. If you want to pay attention to the Chicago Cubs. I think that's everybody in the division or in the National League that Padres fans need to be paying attention to.
Yeah, it's really just the Phillies, Dodgers, and Cubbies.
That's basically it on the scoreboard watching. All right, today, Padres and Mariners. Got to do with Cal Raleigh for the next 3 days. Cal Raleigh, 247 average, 49 home runs, 106 RBIs, 119 hits, 14 stolen bases, has now set the single-season home run record for a catcher. 49 home runs for a catcher is crazy.
It's insane.
It's crazy. And Padres going to have to deal with him for the next 3 days. Has Cal Raleigh done enough to be the MVP of the American League?
Yes, I think so, especially if the Mariners make the playoffs and the Yankees don't. You can't give the award to Aaron Judge at that point. it's got to go to Cal Raleigh.
I think it has to go to Cal Raleigh too. Is there any extra factor for Cal Raleigh because he has to catch too? I mean, I feel like that makes it even more difficult.
Yeah. No, I think that definitely plays a part in it. The average being under 250, I'm sure people aren't going to like as far as the MVP voting is concerned. But I think that's probably the best case scenario for the Mariners. If they get in the playoffs and the Yankees don't, there's no way Raleigh doesn't win the AL MVP.
Seattle, as of late, has not been super great. I mean, if you look at what they have done in the last handful of weeks, I mean, they've had a pretty tough couple East Coast road trips, which is never great late in the year. Plus, anytime the Mariners travel, it's rough anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, their own division is like 4 hours away, 5 hours away.
And they both have a 3-game lead over over Kansas City right now on the cut line. So Yankees are half a game ahead of the Mariners. That's because Seattle's played one more than the Yankees have.
I mean, if you look at the Mariners, they've been on a tailspin after what was a really good stretch. Seattle going into this game is 3-7 in their last 10. But before that, in the month of August, they took 2 out of 3 from Texas, swept Chicago, the White Sox, swept the Rays, and then the homestand was over. They took 3 out of 4 from Texas, actually, going back to July 31st. So their homestand, they had a long homestand they had a 10-game homestand. They went 9-1 on their 10-game homestand. Then they played Baltimore, first game on a road trip. And so they're 10-1 they won 10 of 11 games to start off basically August. Then they got rain, had a lot of rain to deal with in Baltimore. But this long East Coast road trip for Seattle, they lose 2 out of 3 to Baltimore. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets, which you know.
Should have gotten swept.
And honestly, they got swept by Philly, which gives them a 9-game road trip. They went 2-7 on the 9-game road trip. They have since bounced back. They beat the A's 2 out of 3, winning 3-2, losing 2-1, and then bludgeoning the A's yesterday 11-4 to get them to the spot that they're in right now in the American League West or whatever. But this Mariners team did super well against the Padres the last time that these two teams played each other. That was earlier in the season, part of the Vedder Cup. A Mariners team that's obviously going to be right there for a playoff spot, but they won 5-1, 4-1, 6-1. The Padres failed to score more than 1 run against any of the Mariners pitchers earlier in the season. Now, lineups were a little bit different on May 16th, 17th, and 18th for the San Diego Padres.
A lot of it different.
But if you look back, the Padres against the Mariners in game 1 of the series this year. Padres batting order
I have it up right now.
Fernando, Arraez, Machado, Merrill, Bogart, Sheets, Cronenworth, Diaz, Lockridge. Kolick, Peralta, and Reynolds pitched in that game. A little slightly different than it is right now. That was game 1. Game 2, they lost 4-1. Again, Fernando, Arraez, Machado, Merrill, Bogart, Sheets, Cronenworth, Diaz, Hayward. Jason Hayward got a hit in that game. And your pitching staff that day was Pivetta, Morejon, Estrada, Alec Jacob, and Yuki Matsui. The pitching staff in game 2 of that series, Pivetta gave up an earned run and Morejon gave up an earned run. Estrada was shut out. Alec Jacob gave up 2 more runs late in the game, and it was all she wrote for the Padres. And then on the last day of the particular series, and again, this is during the time where the Padres are doing awful with runners in scoring position. Padres went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position that day.
Yeah, this was May 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Right. I mean, Xander Bogaerts isn't playing well, right?
He got 3 hits in the second game.
He did have 3 hits in the second game, but he's hitting like 250 at this point. Low OPS numbers. Jackson Merrill is still part of his nice little hot streak, but he was just coming back from, I think, an injury, if I'm not mistaken.
He
first
was
one.
bouncing back from the first injury.
But then your bottom of the order wasn't very good. And then the final game of this series between the Padres and the Mariners last time, Mariners put up 3 runs in the 4th, 1 in the 6th, and then 2 again in the 9th after the Padres took a 1-0 lead on Brian Wu. Michael King ended up losing this game to the Mariners. Michael King on this particular game, 5 1/3, 4 runs, 3 of them earned on 6 hits. He did have 8 strikeouts and 1 walk, and then Yuki Matsui gave up 2 extra runs later in the contest, put the game out of reach. Offensively for the Padres, again, another bad performance with runners in scoring position. The Padres were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
And that would be Michael King's last start before going on the IL with his nerve injury. I thought that might have been the case, but that was his last start.
Might have been the last time Fernando hit a home run, it seems like.
He hit a leadoff home run.
He
that
hit a
night,
leadoff
too.
home run in that game. He was 1 for 4. Arraez was 1 for 4. Bogarts was 1 for 4. Cronenworth was 1 for 4. Iglesias was 2 for 3. Diaz was 1 for 3 in that particular contest. So slightly different in terms of where the Padres are at right now, where the Mariners are at right now. Both teams are battling for playoff seeding and contention. And looking at the American League, we don't look too much at the American League on this show because it doesn't really affect the Padres until the last week of the year, really. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still going to be one team you got to worry about in the American League, and you got to beat them in a best of 7. But looking at the American League standings, Seattle's 2 games out of a division spot, but behind Houston, who also has not been playing that great of baseball as of late. So Seattle and the Padres both competing for division titles, and both currently in wild card positions, holding off other teams. Now, Seattle is the final wild card team in right now in the American League wild card standings, and they've really kept the Yankees alive because the Yankees haven't been playing good baseball either.
No, they've been awful.
They've been awful. They have a half game lead on Seattle. Seattle's been awful as of late, and if it wasn't for that little bit of a tailspin, who knows where the Mariners would, or who knows where the Yankees would be. I'm surprised you don't hate the Mariners for keeping the Yankees in the playoffs right now.
The Mariners have been so irrelevant to me because of those reasons. Like I didn't even notice where they were. I thought they were leading the wild card standings, if I'm honest.
No, they're a game behind Boston. I mean, they're all right there. So Boston's got the top spot. They lead the Yankees by a half a game, who leads the Mariners by half a game.
And Boston just took 3 out of 4 against the Yankees this weekend in a series that had the greatest stat I think I've ever seen.
Which is what?
The Yankees, going into Sunday, the Yankees had 4 runs on the series and had committed 5 errors. They had more errors through the first 3 games of that series against Boston than they had runs scored. That made me smile.
That's awesome.
That just gave me the biggest smile.
All right, so tonight's game, JP Sears. We don't have a lineup yet, right? We don't have lineups
Negative.
on our show. JP Sears coming off of what was a pretty good outing for JP against San Francisco. And I think you're going to start to see some competition now between JP Sears and Nestor Cortez. And that's what it was at the trade deadline. Did we not say that at the trade deadline?
Yeah.
I was like, these two guys are battling for one more spot. They're battling for one more spot in this rotation, or at least on the playoff roster. Because based on how Major League Baseball has scheduled the postseason, you only need 3 starting pitchers. You don't need a 4th. It's nice to have a 4th, but you don't necessarily need a 4th. And if you look at the starting pitching situation right now, it's Michael King going to the postseason. It's Nick Pivetta. I mean, Dylan Cease is probably going to be there, and it's maybe Yu Darvish. There's obviously a major question of what you do with Nestor Cortez and JP Sears. Plus, you got guys like Randy Vasquez on top of that. But the other thing, too, is Michael King could come back as early as this weekend against the Twins. And so these two players are still continuing to play for a rotation spot. And JP Sears has options. I mean, he might be the odd man out, but he could make it challenging for the Padres with another good outing today. And last outing he had 6 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits, gave up the 1 home run to Casey Schmidt, but overall looked really, really good against the San Francisco Giants in a more fly ball friendly ballpark of Petco Park. Seattle's kind of like that park too.
Yeah, we said that. We wait for JP Sears to come home, wait for him to play a game at Petco, and then we'll see what happens from there. Haven't seen anything. Padres haven't posted anything on social media since last night. The Mariners, however, did post something ahead of today's game, and it's not a lineup. It's from 13 minutes ago on the Seattle Mariners Twitter account. The Mariners and Padres join in support of EB Research Partnership, which was co-founded by Eddie and Jill Vedder, aiming to cure the life-threatening skin disease affecting children from birth, EB. To learn more and support their efforts, visit ebresearch.org. So playing for a cause this week as well between the Padres and Mariners.
JP's faced the Mariners once this year. It was his first game of the year. Game 4 of the season. 2-1 win for the Seattle Mariners. He went 6 2/3, allowed 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 1 home run, 7 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. That's what he did at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. I'd like to see JP go 6 innings again. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that stat line I just gave you, if JP Sears does the exact same thing he did against the Mariners in game 1 of game 1 of the year 2025 for him, the Padres win tonight.
I can't argue with that. I need those 6 innings. That's my big thing. I'm fine with that stat line. It's, again, I need length out of the starting pitching right now because the starters are going to have very short leashes during the postseason, which means I need my bullpen rested and ready to go by the time postseason baseball kicks off. And the only way I'm going to get them rest with the short amount of days off that are left in the season is by the starting pitchers going deep into games.
So we talked about the Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, passing Salvador Perez's deal. Cal Raleigh yesterday recorded his 9th multi-homer game of the season, which also, by the way, passed Ken Griffey Jr.'s 8 multi-homer games in 1997 for the franchise record. Cal is tied for the 5th most single-season multi-home run games by an American League hitter in MLB history. Hank Greenberg, who played for Detroit in 1938, and Aaron Judge in 2022 for the Yankees, lead the American League with 11 multi-homer games. Since the MLB debut in 2021, Raleigh's 19 career multi-homer games also ranks tied for 4th in the majors, with Shohei Ohtani behind only Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, and Juan Soto during that span. How about that?
Impressive.
It just continues to add to this story that has been Cal Raleigh this season.
Yeah, and he was an outsider, like a top 5 outsider, like around the trade deadline. And the question was going to be, are they going to keep it up, or is he going to be able to keep doing what he's doing? The answer is yes, and honestly, he should be the odds-on favorite to win the AL MVP this year.
Cal Raleigh's only hit 9 home runs as a DH this season, or a non-catcher. He's hit 40 of his 49 home runs as a catcher, which ranks tied for 3rd with Mike Piazza, Roy Campanella, for the most home runs hit as a catcher in MLB history, trailing only Javi Lopez and Todd Hundley for the Major League record. Cal is also 5 home runs away from tying Mickey Mantle for the most home runs in a season by a switch hitter, and 7 home runs away from tying Ken Griffey Jr. for the single season franchise record.
Those are insane numbers.
Those are insane numbers
Absolutely
for
mental.
a catcher, man.
Yep.
All for a catcher. I mean, think about all of the players we just listed. Try to keep Cal Raleigh in the yard. And if he leaves the yard, try to keep it in the yard for the second time.
Orthodox Evan, really? What kind of ringworm cream is Cal using?
Foul in the show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This has been the Braden Surprenant Show. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. Gwen and Chris coming up next.